Guess who's back? Back again. Brother Ron. Tell some friends. Guess who's back and still black? Guess who's back and still black? And welcome to one another wonderful, entertaining, edutainng edition of We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. That's News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Brother Ron, also known as R2, C2, H2, the artivist, the dot provocateur, the feeder. I'm here to feed you, stuff you with so much breadcrumbs you'll make your own dressing, man. That's what it's all about. See how it works. There's a lot going on in the world today. It's a lot going on in the world today. Hip hop parade. Hip hip hop parade. I'm just here to talk about my I guess my first takes on a lot of things, my second look at some other things, my second looks, my first takes, and some other thoughts I think I will share with you all that I think is very pertinent to these times because everybody has something to say. I think Andy Warhol said that in the future everybody will have their 15 seconds of fame. So I don't even think fame is fame anymore. I think really in this world we living in, fame is obsolete. What people are really hungering for, if I'm the feeder, is authenticity, not necessarily fame, not necessarily fortune, but authenticity. Hey, you brother Tyrone, how about them Knicks, man? Yay, yay! Always good to see you and you feeding the community, Tyrone. Thank you, brother, and my condolences and thoughts go out to you and your family. I know people having like a lot of people they losing right now. A lot of things are going on that's making people questioning their reality, maybe their faith and whatnot. But believe in yourself. Know that you have the power to determine your own destiny. May you be the captain of your ship, and know that you have the power. You have the will and imagination to make of this reality whatever you will. So, brother Tyrone, you are definitely a good brother, good grounded brother. Been consistent for a long time. Sometimes I don't always answer the text right away. I be in some deep spell. I'm actually on a sabbatical. It's a working sabbatical. It's like a vision quest for me. I'm actually taking a break out the hamster wheel as usual because I'm tired. You got me going in circles. I'm trying to stop going in circles and actually walk towards something called goals and objectives right now. So I really been reassessing things and been having some epiphanies and things like that. So I'm realizing that your life is what you make of it. Baba Dick Gregory told me your life is a movie. You could be the director, you could be the star, you could be the executive producer, screenwriter, but you determine what genre you want your movie to be. He told me, don't let something that traumatic happen to you at 4 years old be the theme of your movie. If you live to be 104 years old, don't let something that happened to you at 4 years old determine your 100-year narrative. You understand what I'm saying? You see how it works. I'm also reminded that if you do one thing differently, everything will change. Like, people think that when it comes to revolution and evolution or anything in particular, they think you got to change everything. You got to be very drastic, very aggressive. But if you just change one thing and do one thing differently on a consistent basis, then everything can change. What they say takes about 21 days to form or break a habit. That's how it goes. Now running to Atlanta, man. That's Drake's hometown. And thank you for tuning out to tune in and get in where you don't fit in, good brother. Because Dr. Michael King Jr. said human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. And Michael King Jr. is what y'all it's the person y'all know as Martin Luther King Jr. But his original name, his government name was Michael King Jr. And it makes sense that he was actually a Michael because you think about the greatness of the name Michael. Anybody named Michael, whether it be in fiction or nonfiction, in fantasy or reality, are truly exceptional, gifted people. You don't screw over people named Michael. It's like screwing over people with the last name of Brown. Joe Brown, John Brown, Jim Brown, Chris Brown, Bobby Brown, James Brown. Browns, they get around. You don't mess around on Browns. You FO and find out. You will FO and find out messing out with somebody named Brown. Now think about a person named Michael Brown. What happened in the summer of Brown, Ferguson 2014? I bear witness to it. Up in St. Louis, Missouri, up Interstate 55. And they tried to do something to a brother named Michael Brown, and the town almost got burnt down. It was a hot summer back in 2014. So there's a lot of things going on right now I want to touch upon. And before I get, I guess I talk about. Let me see. Yeah, I want to make some clarifications for last show we did, the last live we did. We got the flagship channel back up and running. We All Be TV, the original one y'all love so much. Got We All Be TV working again. So it's funny to me that I've been uploading things, been creating content, been telling people to go to We All Be TV too, or check us out on Rumble. We All Be TV on rumble.com. And as soon as I started to upload again, like last week, start uploading to the original We All Be channel that's been on YouTube since January 2009. Been getting a lot of people, leaving comments saying, "Oh man, brother, it's good to see you back, man. Been a while, man. Like it's good to see you interview Judge Joe Brown. It's been a couple years now. Matter of fact, I've been talking to Judge on a regular for a while. Just have not been getting uploaded to the original channel because of some issues with YouTube. But somehow, Uranus leaving Taurus has cleared up some misunderstandings, some miscommunications. I'm not actually in a golden era right now. Next year will actually mark 20 years of podcasting for me. January the 7th, 2007, I started podcasting. And next year will mark the 20th anniversary of We All Be News, Radio, and TV. We All Be started as a movement back in April 2006 in New Orleans to protest early voting. Like we crossed that bridge where black folks were denied entry into Gretna, Jefferson County Parish. I would say Gretna Parish. Actually, it's the city of Gretna in Jefferson County. Now, I mean Jefferson Parish. A parish down in Louisiana is what we call a county where I'm from. I'm in Shelby County, but down there they call their what would be counties here parishes. So I had the epiphany on that bridge, marching for people who couldn't advocate for themselves because they were sent halfway across the country to places like Utah, who never been out the Ninth Ward or New Orleans or Louisiana, being sent across the country. They really did a number on New Orleans. People talk about the three ways Neapolitan split when they broke up, I guess, District 9 into three districts down here. And it's going to be interesting this summer with the primaries and the general election, how that impacts Memphis. But, they changed the whole city demographic for New Orleans with the Hurricane FEMA situation. I can't believe it's been over be close to 21 years. It'll be 21 years this summer. And that's crazy to think about. It's been a generation. What is it, like a score in 1 year? Because a score is 20 years, I think. When Abraham Lincoln did the Gettysburg, I said Gettysburg speech, the Gettysburg address. I'm about to say express. He said, he said, was it 3 scores? And no, he said 4 scores and 10 years ago or 3 scores and 10 years ago. We don't want to, but the score is basically 20 years from my understanding. But, it's been almost 21 years since Hurricane FEMA and her cousin or sister, Katrina, brought havoc to the folks on the Gulf Coast, in particular, New Orleans and Biloxi, Mississippi. And we still have not have questions that need to be answered. There are still missing people from Katrina and FEMA that have not been accounted for. But I guess if you win a Super Bowl within like 4 or 5 years of this horrible disaster, this allegedly man-made disaster, because people say they heard them levees get popped or blowed open. Actually, the eye of the hurricane did not even hit New Orleans. It hit I guess the Gulf Coast on Mississippi, the Biloxi area, but they blew up them levees and it changed everything. And it's unfortunate when I think about that time. I was even planning on talking about it right now, but I remember the Honorable Representative Cynthia McKinney, U.S. Representative from Georgia. She was one of the first people to talk about the hell that black folks were catching post Katrina, and she got ridiculed. She talked about police brutality being very excessive in the wake of that tragedy. She talked about white people forming hunting groups, hunting down black people, and people were laughing and ridiculing her, really bullying her. And what's interesting that people were willing to believe that black folks who were just eating Popeye's chicken within less than 24 hours became cannibals. I remember on the news, oh, they're eating people. It's been less than 24 hours and people are eating people. And I'm saying, they were just eating Popeyes. Give them some credit. Jesus. They were just eating Popeyes and red beans and rice. I don't think they're really eating people. And they talking about what they are looting. I mean, where they looting? It's called survival. Survival. That's what it was. I mean, who gonna steal a big screen TV when your house is on the water? You know what I'm saying? Where you gonna plug the TV? You could go to the Superdome. Superdome was hell, was purgatory. I mean, they celebrated. Not too long after that, Beyonce shut it down during the halftime. The power went out. All that stuff. It's weird, but people caught hell. People, is now we know there were this crazy incidents of excessive police brutality taking place because civilization was called off. You had black people getting killed by law enforcement on the Danziger Bridge. You had the brother who was burnt up in the car by police. You have missing black people in general, but black people in particular are still missing from what happened back in August of 2005. Uh, you still got bodies that have not been identified. With all this technology, you still got human remains waiting to be claimed. Uh, man, it was really unfortunate. And people were talking about Katrina fatigue. We didn't have no real social media. This is back in 2005. We didn't have like what we know as MySpace or Facebook or Instagram. There was really no social media. We was dependent on the three major networks. And I also guess CNN, 24-hour news to keep us updated. And a lot of times they kept us misinformed, like with Brian Williams, whatever the cat name is, the white boy was lying by stuff. He's like, the news anchor guy that y'all trust. We are beyond the days of the most trusted man in America type of thing, the Walter Cronkite type of mentality. I mean, can you ever trust a white man in America to tell you the straight truth? No chaser, man. When was that ever happening in American history? Matter of fact, the media conglomerate, the media industrial complex was invented on a lie. I mean, let's say what we currently call the mainstream news was invented by William Randolph Hearst with yellow journalism, which happened during the Spanish American War. It was yellow journalism that lied about saying that the country of Spain blew up the USS Maine. They said that the country of Spain blew up the USS Maine, and that led to the Spanish American War, where really it was a land grab. It was it's kind of like that scene from The Wire. If you are The Wire fans, The Wire is really like modern day Shakespeare set in Black America, inner city Black America. The Wire was like the closest thing to Shakespeare on TV. And I think it was a thing about where Slim Charles, one of my favorite characters, he was like a capo or enforcer capo for Boxdale gang at one point. And they was talking about why they was at odds with Marlowe, I believe. And but the genesis of the issue because I think they thought that Marlowe crew had something to do with the death of Stringer Bell. I can't recall. It's been a while, but I know this line is very one of the most iconic lines in the whole show, where I think Slim Charles was addressing, I don't know, it was Avon or somebody else said, well, that wasn't what really caused what happened with Stringer. And he basically said something to the effect, well, we fight on a lie. I mean, we can't, if that's not the truth why this stuff happened, we'll just fight on the lie. Like all wars are started by lies. I can't think of one war that was not started on a lie. If you look at our involvement in the Vietnam War after the assassination of President Kennedy, the Gulf of Tonkin incident was used to escalate Americans' involvement in the Vietnam War. And it was a false flag operation because we never were attacked by the Vietnamese. The Viet Cong or the Northern Vietnamese never attacked us, but they used that false flag to get us more deeply invested in fighting the Vietnam War. And this is after Kennedy was trying to withdraw troops from Vietnam. He planned ahead. His plan was to have all the troops withdrawn by, I believe, by 1965, which would have been his second term. And they was removing troops, and then once he got assassinated, they started, bringing troops back to Vietnam, and they escalated out the Gulf of Tonkin incident back in 1964. Even the USS Liberty incident, that was an inside job too, and y'all can follow the breadcrumbs of that. If y'all Candace Owens fans out there, then you would know what that's about. Buffalo, New York is in the building. Thank you, Rick James. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So you mess around with Mr. Brown, you might be kicked by Buster Brown's shoe. That's right. Browns, don't mess around with Browns, man. Much respect to the Browns out there in the universe and beyond. And what else going on? But yeah, but every war you could think of is fought on a lie. I don't know. No war is really about what people say. Like if you fighting a war, you saying it's about freedom, it's about justice. No, it's about land grab. It's about controlling other people's resources. It's about anything but justice, anything but freedom. It's all about control, control, control. It's all about control. So I just want to, let the people know. Let the people wake the people up. Then you look at, people are concerned about, I look at the New York Knicks winning. Congrats to the New York Knicks winning in 53 years. But those fans are really insane. Like Dick Gregory said, you can't spell fanatic without the word fan and fanatic. And the thing about these sports and stuff, we are the new Roman Empire. This is the last days of empire. They have fleeced the banks, the deposits, everything is gone. Fort Knox has not had gold in its, in its facility for a while. I believe Fort Knox has not have gold, does not possess gold right now for decades, if ever. Some people believe the Wizard of Oz was about the Federal Reserve, and they can make a good case for that. But let me see something. Hey Phil, how you doing, man?
Hey, Brother Ron, I'm doing well and always ready to roll. What's on your mind today?
Why you sound like you from New York, man?
I've got that Southern vibe rooted in Memphis, but I'm happy to bring a little flair from anywhere if it helps the conversation. What's making you think in New York today?
Well, I'm talking about the Knicks, man. Also, I got to correct you, man. You made me like a fool as usual. You be slipping, man. Because people think that so-called AI and stuff always get it right. A lot of times they be getting it wrong, man. They just like anybody else. They be kind of like, be kind of lazy and out and stuff like that. So we got to get correct. When I asked you about the Knicks, like the top three players for the Knicks that was instrumental in getting that ship for them recently, I asked you who were the three players from Villanova, because sometimes we call them the Nova Knicks because of the close relation with the Nova players. They helped Villanova win 10 years ago the college championship, and you told me that one of the players was Dante DeCinvo. I mean, say his name Dante DeCinzo. You said he was one of the three, but he actually was a part of the Knicks, but he got traded, I believe, back in 2024. So you left off a brother, I think was named Mikal Bridges.
You're spot on. Mikal Bridges was indeed one of the Villanova trio that helped shape those Knicks. Thanks for keeping us on track. Sometimes we all need a little correction to stay sharp.
But Dante DeCinzo, right? He was on the Knicks before he got traded.
You've got it. Dante DiVincenzo was on the Knicks, and he's still there. No trade since joining them in 2023. So he definitely counts as
No,
part of
he's
that
not there.
Villanova.
He got traded. Do a deep search, please. Do a deep dive.
So you were right. Dante DiVincenzo was traded from the New York Knicks. He was part of a big deal that sent him to the Minnesota Timberwolves in October 2024. In return, the Knicks got Karl Anthony Towns. So he's no longer on the Knicks roster today.
I feel like he should deserve a ring just for giving them the Karl Anthony Towns, the one of the key ingredients to their historic championship run. Don't you agree he deserve a ring like Spike Lee?
You know, honorary rings might not be a thing, but I'm with you on that sentiment. He definitely played his role in setting the stage. Sometimes the right trade is just as crucial as hitting the game winning shot. But hey, at least we can give him that fan appreciation ring in spirit.
But Dante actually is a baller because back in 2018, he was able to secure Villanova's second championship in 3 years. In 2018, he actually was the MVP of the Final Four, I believe. He scored 31 points against Michigan off the bench. So he's a baller, man. He's a stud. So it's good to have that type of that talent on that one team. They are champions, they are winners, and they got that winning attitude. But yeah, Dante was a key player in their historic second win at Villanova for championship. That's still when I think Jalen Brunson was still there, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. It's always
Now he's coughing. Come on, Phil, what's going on with you, man? You're cracking up.
My bad. No cracking up here. You're absolutely right, though. That Villanova legacy carried into the NBA. DiVincenzo's got that winning DNA, and having him on a team, even if for a bit, brings that champion energy. And yep, Jalen Brunson was right there alongside him. Winners tend to stick together.
So can you please do a deep dive? Make sure I got my information correct on him being the MVP of the Final Four back in 2018 when they won their second championship.
You've got it right. Dante DiVincenzo was indeed the most outstanding player of the 2018 Final Four. In that championship game, he came off the bench and scored 31 points against Michigan, helping Villanova secure their second title in 3 years.
Okay, cool. Cause I know that's from the last live we did. Actually, I'm very peculiar about making sure I get my information correct because I feel like black men or black people in general, but black men are in particular, our credibility is always challenged when it comes to like this giving out information and doing the things I do. I do a lot of things. I do public speaking. I do talks on people radio shows. I do my podcast. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And sometimes I'll get things wrong. I get excited. I get names messed up. Like I said last podcast, I called Bernard Lafayette a civil rights icon, Bernard Lafayette Jr., Reverend Bernard Lafayette Jr. I called him James Bernard Lafayette. And I know a lot of times people will mistake that. They'll say, well, James Bernard Lafayette Jr. instead of saying Bernard Lafayette Jr. And I take, sometimes I met the brother, I gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award, but I take that personally. Like I want to make sure I get people's names correct because I know people are dependent on me to give them the factual information. I am the feeder. Dick Gregory said I'm the feeder. So I want to feed y'all the correct food, the correct protein, supplements, whatever I'm supposed to do. And if I get something wrong, I'm man enough to admit that I got it wrong, and I do my best to correct in later narratives, because I'm not trying to do any actual harm. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to be of service But also, I want to encourage you all that when you listen to these podcasts, my interviews, my speeches, don't use this as the final say on anything. Do your due diligence, do your own research. It'll be more empowering when you learn how to fish for yourself.
That's a solid. You've got such a thought,
Feel you breaking
Clive.
up.
I'm still here. Thanks for your patience. I hear you loud and clear now. Credibility matters, and your integrity in getting the facts straight shines through. It's that kind of care that builds trust over time. Keep on feeding the people that good knowledge. And when needed, we'll set the record straight together.
Yeah, can you give me a summary of the Cohen Wiley situation? Are you familiar with that, Phil?
I'm familiar with Colin Wiley's name, but to make sure I give you an accurate and up to date summary, could you clarify which aspect or situation involving him you mean? If it's a recent event or case, I can check for the latest details, or if it's something more historical, I'm happy to give context.
Well, I'm talking about Cohen Wiley, the young 1 year old Cohen Wiley, the 1 year old child who's now a righteous ancestor, who was killed recently at the Walmart down in Senatobia, Mississippi. I believe last week. Sometime a cop fired into a car, a moving car with a suspected shoplifter, and the mother of the child. They both were in the car as passengers of the alleged suspect, and the police officer shot into the vehicle. One of the shots hit Cohen Wiley. Several shots hit the driver and alleged shoplifter. Can you give us any details about that case in terms of updates? And I guess I gave a summary, but could you add to that narrative?
Recently in Senatobia, Mississippi, a tragic incident occurred where a police officer fired into a vehicle during a shoplifting response. A 1 year old child, Cohan Wiley, was killed, and a female passenger was critically injured. The officer said the vehicle was driving toward them, but the family disputes this. An investigation is underway. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is handling the case, and the family is demanding transparency and the release of footage. The incident has sparked protests and broader discussions about police use of force.
Yeah, thank you for that. But my thing is this: I saw what a young lady, the mother of the dead 1 year old, which is really tragic. She spoke. I believe it was a lawyer and her in a car. They spoke on social media. She gave a brief perspective of what happened from her perspective, and basically, she was not accused of shoplifting. She wasn't the problem. Matter of fact, she was not charged with anything. And the person that they was focusing on was the driver who was injured in the situation when she got shot by the police several times. And what I hate about social media, it's not that I hate it, but it's unfortunate that once narratives get out there, people tend to keep with those narratives and add to the nonsense instead of getting clarity on the actual facts. And that bothers me in these type of cases because I'm trying to get clarity. I'm not trying to add to confusion. I'm not interested in having my emotions manipulated. So I'm really kind of slow to judge and slow to rush into these situations until I get some verifiable facts. And it's hard to get sometimes because certain entities and individuals have agendas to keep us divided and conquered. So I'm not even doing victim blaming because people talked about her composure, how she was when she gave her perspective in that short social media clip. And you can find it on Instagram and stuff like that. But I would say people was in the comments, they were very like, you know, not empathetic at all. They talked about what she had no emotions and she was cold. It's like she used the child as a shield. But what she said that she was trying to show the police, hey, we got a child in the car, don't shoot. And she was holding up her baby, and the baby got shot, whatever, some type of way. And people said, well, she's heartless. I mean, this is a young black woman. She's barely an adult herself. And I have a lot of empathy for her at that time because I don't think she woke up that morning thinking that her child will be dead before the end of the day. I don't think she was looking forward to sacrificing her child. And people can be very insensitive about that. I will not wish that situation on even my so-called worst enemy, where she and her family find themselves in at this point. But I want clarity because the police got body cams happening in Walmart's parking lots. You got cameras everywhere. And I'm not going to buy it that in 2026 there are no working cameras at Walmart in the parking lot, that the body cams are not working on the police in 2026. The Zapruder film had better resolution than I see on some of these body cams and security cameras in 2026. And we got to stop with the okey doke and the banana in the tailpipe logic that we be found ourselves in. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you got a thoughtful and grounded approach, and it's completely fair to seek clarity without jumping to conclusions. In tragedies like this, there's so much noise, emotions, assumptions, and narratives. Waiting for full transparency, like body cam or security footage, is reasonable. And you're right, no one should have to endure something like this, and it's vital that we seek facts, not just react to speculation. Let's hope clarity comes soon for everyone involved.
Well, it's really unfortunate time because I know I think Ben Crump is representing his family at this point. They had a press conference not too long ago. I believe the press conference was in Memphis. And the thing about it is, Ben Crump is interesting to me. I have met Ben Crump several times. I actually have no problem with the brother. He knows and understands his assignment, his God work. People get mad at him because he's not Johnny Cochran. He's not Thurgood Marshall. He's not Willie Gary. He's not supposed to be. He's Ben Crump. He's not a trial lawyer. He's not Perry Mason. He's not Superman. He's a brother doing the best he can to get some compensation for the bereaved families that he deal with. And I believe that this system, as devilish as it is not qualified to really give justice. Y'all keep on talking about justice. They can't give you justice. They can give you some compensation. They can give you some acknowledgement. But if they can't bring that baby back, that Cohen Wally cannot come back fully restored, there is no justice. It's just us, seriously. And the laws is wherever the laws we decide them to be. Whatever law they decide to enforce. What people don't understand is police are not here to protect and serve everyday people. And it's not a knock against the police per se. It's to overstand and understand what they're here. They're here to protect and serve the interests of the ownership society. The great comedian and social critic George Carlin talks about America, the corporation, the constitutional republic being an ownership society. If you do not own anything, you do not matter. People talk about the electoral college, and people don't understand that when this country was founded 250 years ago, this experiment, the only people who could vote were white men that own property. White men did not get the whole vote. They did not get the suffrage, whatever you want to call it, the vote until Andrew Jackson became president. And he said all white men, regardless of socioeconomic status, he didn't say it like that, but he said all the white men can vote. Black men didn't get the franchise until they fought and died for it in the Civil War. That's how black men got the right to vote through blood, sweat, and tears. And really, by black men getting the right to vote, they'd open the doors for women to get the right to vote. See, people don't want to talk about how powerful it is when black men stand up for something and want to put their lives on the line for something. They want to dismiss the power of black men being unified. The system knows full well what it means when you get a black men working in unison. I'm not talking about all black men. If you get a group of black men focused on an agenda, focused with discipline, paradigms shift, narratives are reclaimed. So getting back, the Colin Wiley situation. It is important that we as a people get in front of these narratives and to really steer it a certain way. We live in the media industry complex that lies to endorse wars. You think about the most recent wars. You think about the Iraq War back in the early 2000s, right? When it was fought on a lie, just like that scene in The Wire with Slim Charles would fight on a lie. Uh, Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. They had no weapons of mass destruction. Matter of fact, we controlled their airspace. How could they be involved in 9/11 when we had sanctions on their airspace? When we were starving their people, we were starving their children. We controlled their airspace. If you think about that speech George Bush Jr. did about the axis of evil, he said three countries. He said Iran or Iran, Iraq, and North Korea were the axis of evil. It's like a comic book theme. This is like a comic book movie. Uh, and Iran's still here because that's not just Iran, that's the Persian Empire. We call it Iran today, but that's the Persian Empire. It's just like the Roman Empire never died. The Persian Empire never died. And that's another story. We could get into that because basically I'm freestyling, but I'm hitting some of my points. But they wouldn't let the UN inspector inspect and find the yellow cake. He said, "Give me time, please. Give me time. It's no, we couldn't find anything." He was like trying to plead for logic in an insane system. They didn't give a damn about no yellow cake or anything else. It was just an excuse to come in and take over some stuff. Because wars, I never fought for freedom or liberation. It's fought for control and leverage and access. Because if this the so-called cradle civilization, why y'all destroy the infrastructure? Because really, if it's about what they said it was about, he trying to kill your daddy, you want revenge. All you gotta do is go through the military, take out the leadership, and keep everything in place. Keep everything, the infrastructure in place. It already was a civilization. It's a city. Baghdad is a country. Is already, y'all created Iraq out of the white man's imagination. Iraq was created by the white man. So they had everything, but they wanted to make money off of misery because war is about profit. Some of the biggest money makers, right? The DuPont family made a lot of money off of World War One. The helicopter industry made a lot of money off of Vietnam. You go to every war, they're making money off. And you had Ford Motor Company creating vehicles for Adolf Hitler during World War II, deep into the war. They were in the 40s basically creating stuff. They said that Adolf Hitler had a portrait of Henry Ford in his office. So BMW, IBM, Mercedes, people that made Adidas. Y'all talking about Yay, but Adidas founders were Nazis. So my thing is, we got to stop. We got to really pull the cover off our eyes and see things as they are. I got my magic glasses on. I can't force you to see the things I'm seeing, but when the universe put those things on you, remember you can never take them off. You can't make nobody else see what you see. But time is the best way to reward uh, knowledge, because all things get revealed with the passage of so-called time. So let me run it back to Cohen Wiley. If we're not able to get different angles of what happened that day, because police claim that the young lady was trying to ram the car into them, that's why they shot at her. The police officer, he is suspended, I believe. I don't know if it's with or without pay. I think they said without pay, pending investigation. Well, my thing is, how can you justify shooting anybody for stealing anything allegedly out of a Walmart? Walmart makes more money than God. They got stuff insured. Walmart biggest their criminal problem is they criminally underpay their regular employees that work at these stores. That they don't pay them enough, because how can you justify working those hours at Walmart and still can't afford your food? You still got to get government assistance, and you work all that those many hours at Walmart. That's criminal to me. Same thing with the Amazon thing, but we are creatures of comfort, excuse me. And you think about Baba Dick Gregory, like telling me, he said some of the smartest people at Walmart are the everyday workers, the people that work the aisles, that stock the shelves. You could go to a random person at Walmart that's working on the floor. You could ask them like, some really like obscure product. Even if they don't know the exact aisle, they could get you to the locations. Like, they may not get you to the right house, but they'll put you in the right zip code. But a lot of times they do know where these items are located. They got photographic memory and stuff like that. And some of these people were, teenage mothers, GED, didn't graduate from high school, but they got intelligence. They're very smart. And I remember Dick Gregory would say that reading is a violation. You think about during the Middle Ages when they had stained glasses were made, so because most of the population was illiterate, people who knew how to read and write was the elites of society. It wasn't the everyday person. So they told the biblical stories through stained glass. And the thing about it is, people think, oh, they stupid. It's no, just ignorant. You may not know, but there's some things you can do without formal education. There are people who could build homes perfectly without knowing how to read a ruler. They know how to measure things by sight. They got a great understanding of spatial reality, spatial depth, and they just know how to cut things perfectly. It's supposed to know how to play instruments without reading music. They got perfect pitch and all that stuff. So what I'm saying is there's more than one way to do anything, right? To get to something. So that's very important.
You've covered a lot of deep ground there, and I really respect how you connect historical and systemic perspectives to current events. It's important to keep asking questions, seeking the truth, and remembering that people's lives, like Kohan Wiley's, are at the heart of these narratives. Keep that thoughtful lens on. Asking for clarity and pushing for accountability is exactly what keeps these systems in check.
Yeah, but my thing is this. My problem with our black people is that, you know, I have a problem police shooting like that and asking questions later, but regardless of what dumb people allegedly did or didn't do, if the woman stole or didn't steal, that baby life was not worth taking over diapers or Simulac or whatever it was, because we all get caught in details. We all be doing, Monday morning armchair quarterbacking. I'm not gonna sit here and blame that young black woman for the loss of her child. I don't think she woke up that morning thinking that her child was gonna be dead over some diapers or misunderstanding or something like that. What I do know is that it's like black people don't care about black life until white folks do something to it. It's like we don't care that we do stuff to each other. Now, when people say, well, black on black crime is not real, and people like Dick Gregory, you kill where you live, you commit crimes on people that you know. You live in a certain environment. This is true. But my thing is this is that why y'all more concerned when a white person or a white cop do something to a black person or a black child than you are than how we treat each other? Like, why is it okay that we treat each other a certain way, yet we hold other groups more accountable than us? I did a speech for Juneteenth. I was a keynote. Shout out to Rolanda, Sister Rolanda down at Care Now down in Holly Springs for inviting me and investing in me and taking a chance on me to speak before her Juneteenth event this past Saturday in Holly Springs. I couldn't say no because my Black History Dream Girl, one of my Black History Dream Girls, is from Holly Springs, Ida B. Wells. I love that sister. And let me see something. It's my Ida B. Wells doll, man. A Black History Dream Girl. This is my Ida B. Wells doll. I travel with this doll just about everywhere doing the work with the ancestors. So it's like a talisman or taliswoman. And I'm an Ida B. Wells fan. So I seized the moment. And actually the sister Rolanda did a mural of Ida B. Wells and Fannie Lou Hamer and Alfred Skip Robinson on the side of her business. And I actually discovered that's going to be my theme for the speech about them bringing them back to Holly Springs, northern Mississippi, Mississippi Delta, whatever. What's interesting about people like Ida B. Wells, I told them brothers and sisters on Saturday, and I'm gonna have the speech uploaded soon. But what I told them brothers and sisters on Saturday, and I made a reference to the situation down in Senatobia, I believe, in a way. I said Abby Wells was one of eight. She was one of eight black children. She was the eldest of eight. Fannie Lou Hamer was number 20th of her parents. She was the 20th child of her parents. Malcolm X was the seventh child of his father, who had 11 children in all. Alfred Skip Robinson was one of 17. When y'all keep on asking these questions, when is the next Malcolm coming? When is the next Ida B. Wells coming? The next Fannie Lou coming? The next Alfred Skip Robinson coming? Why are you asking that question? Because we keep on killing them before they get here. The ancestors are trying to come back to help us, but we keep on killing them before they get here. You know how many black people been killed by us willingly been killed by us through the assistance of the system? Y'all keep on talking about y'all want freedom fighters and riders, but we keep on killing them before we gonna ride for them. They trying to come back. Ada B trying to make her way back to her people, but y'all keep on denying Ada B. Y'all won't let her be. Y'all won't let Ada B be. They trying to come back. So I was telling that we know you talking about babies. I mean, yeah, okay, white folks kill us and all that, but shit, we killing us. We willingly killing us. We could be worse than the Klan when it comes to killing us because we were stronger when we was together. Like I told them brothers and sisters, I said, look, the Trinity is the black man, woman, and child. That's the Trinity. The black family is the Holy Trinity. Our greatest victories during the movement came when we worked together directly, whether it be the Montgomery bus boycott, we had black men, World War II veterans, Korean War veterans patrolling, escorting sisters home. You had black women that were getting sexually assaulted by white bus drivers and police officers in Montgomery for a minute. But yet you had a 381 successful straight boycott. They boycotted the bus system for 381 days. That's over a year. Y'all talking about Target boycotts. I still see black folks going to Target. Y'all talking about Walmart boycotts. I still see black folks going to Walmart. Amazon boycotts. We still buying stuff off of Amazon. Black folks, not black people with white folk or with white college students or with white money. You had black folks saying enough is enough. We stuck together. Cause I try to tell people black power is unity and solidarity. White power is divide and conquer. When we stick together, nothing can break us but us. We are the secret ingredient. So this is what I'm trying to get across. When Ida B. Wells' parents died, she was left to raise her five siblings. There was eight of them in all, but her parents died along with one of her younger siblings. So she, instead of letting the family get broken up to different and sent to different family members, she said, "I'm going to stay and keep my family whole." So at the age of 16, Ida B. Wells made sure she raised her brothers and sisters properly. She dropped out of Rusk College. I saw the president of Rusk College. When I did my speaking engagement on the radio station, they got a great radio station and program. Shout out to Rusk College. It's really a hidden jewel in the Delta, man. Rusk College is something else. Shout out to Rusk College, but I was around campus taking selfies with Ida B. And them brothers looking at me like I was crazy. What's wrong with this brother? Let's check in on this brother. Can we help you? I said, no, I'm helping myself, sir. I'm taking pictures with Ida B. Just me and Ida B enjoying college luxury. So come to find out, I found out that Ida B. Wells' father, James Well, who was a carpenter like Jesus. Her father was a carpenter like Jesus. Her father was a carpenter like Jesus. Was a original founder, co-founder, and trustee of Rusk College when it was known as Shaw University. Ida B. Wells attended Shaw University, now known as Rusk College, before her parents died. But she had to leave school because I heard a couple things. She got into it with the school's president, which sounds like some IWL stuff. And also her parents died, so she had to take care of her siblings. So she became a teacher, take care of her siblings. But my thing is this: I said, have y'all ever given her an honorary degree? I mean, New York Times several years ago, they finally gave her a proper obituary when she died back on March 25th, 1931. The New York Times, the so-called paper record, did not acknowledge her passing, but they made up for it now because it's been an Ida B. Wells Renaissance recently. We got a official street name for Ida B. Wells here in Memphis, the Ida B. Wells Plaza. She got a monument up in Chicago. They celebrate her every year down in Holly Springs, and this has been an Ida B. Wells Renaissance. So I'm saying I'm putting it in their ear. Give this woman her honorary degree. She earned it for being true to black people. She deserves an honorary degree. Okay. I thought, like I said, you change one thing, you change everything. Don't forget about Ida B. She's the mother of American investigative journalism. Could never forget about Ida B. But also, I was telling people black families matter, and also self defense matter. Because Ida B said a Winchester rifle should have a place of honor in every black home. All the people I talked about at that Juneteenth speech, they believed in the black family. They believe in black self-preservation. They believe in black armed self-defense by any means necessary. So you get like the Afro Skip Robinson. Now, it was interesting because shout out to the Geronimo Pratt Gun Club from Dallas coming up to be a part of this Juneteenth. Now, I'm a big Afro Skip Robinson fan. Hold up. This book right here, written by his brother, called Untitled Skip, the Last Freedom Fighter. Alfred Skip Robinson is what we didn't know we need. I mean, I didn't know he really was a real person. I'll tell you why. Alfred Skip Robinson was a very unique brother. This brother was very prominent back in the 70s and in the 80s. In the 70s in particular, his brothers were born in Red Bank, Mississippi, I believe February the 7th, 1934, in Marshall County. He's one of 17 children. He said he got involved in the movement. This is his own words. That he got hired by one of the people that killed Emmett Till. He said the man was over 7 foot tall. But while he was working that year at that guy's business and plotting to kill this guy, he had like I guess a road to Damascus moment where he said, I'm gonna, help my people. I'm gonna serve my people. I'm gonna liberate my people. So you had Alfred Skip Robinson, this brother down in Holly Springs. He ran for sheriff of Marshall County. He wasn't successful, but he believed in black armed self-defense. And the thing about it is that he organized a grassroots organization known as United League of Mississippi, which in its heyday, in its prime, was about estimates range from 60,000 to 100,000 members. This is back in the 1970s, folks. This man was getting in shootouts with the Klan in Holly Springs, in Tupelo, all in Marshall County. He was getting shootouts with the Klan. This brother had no fear. He was very good with his hands. He was a craftsman. It's like a carpenter, construction working type of cat. But he was a brilliant brother. And what I love about him is that this dude got all these accolades back in the 70s and stuff. He was everywhere, which is amazing because when I talk to renowned scholars of the civil rights era, academics, and even veterans, they act like they never heard of this guy. This guy was too prominent not to be heard of. Matter of fact, Minister Farrakhan heard this guy all the way from the East Coast. Minister Farrakhan came to Mississippi to recruit Alfred Skip Robinson as one of his right-hand men, especially in the southern region. Alfred Skip Robinson was already the total package. He didn't need the Nation of Islam to become one. He was already that guy. He was him. As y'all say in sports vernacular, he was him. He didn't need the nation to become him. He already had the charisma, the engagement, the record, the speaking ability, oratorical skills were off the charts. Brother was dynamic. There's one surviving speech I was able to find. He did, I believe, up in Massachusetts back either the late 70s or early 80s. And what's crazy, not crazy like he was insane, but how accurate he called out the future for Black America. He knew what was coming back in the late 70s and early 80s before anybody did. In terms like he was kind of like when I listened to Dr. Bobby Wright when he was speaking at the HBCU down in Atlanta. Dr. Bobby Wright was a teacher of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. up in Chicago. Dr. Bobby Wright was brilliant, and he left us too soon. I mean, Dr. Bobby Wright died young, but he did this speech in Atlanta that talk about guys wearing dresses. He did this speech back in the early 80s, I believe. It's on YouTube somewhere. But he talking about how black men will be emasculated. He tried to warn Fred Hampton that white folks can be trusted as allies and all this stuff. I mean, he talking about the socialism, communism angle. That's what he was talking about. And he was ahead of the game, but a lot of people don't know about Dr. Bobby Wright. He's been forgotten about, but he's a righteous ancestor as far as I'm concerned. But Skip, man, he was calling out. He knew that the future could have been bleak for black people. Also, he was hopeful about the future, but the stuff that we're dealing with today, you can listen to that speech on We All Be TV on our flagship channel. The man was on the money. That's why he knew he cared about people. He was very prophetic. So Farrakhan recruited him. He was already established, by the way. No, his name, his Islamic name became let me see, Aziz Muhammad. Abdul Aziz Muhammad. Hey Phil, I'm getting it right, man. What do you think about that? I just Phil went to sleep. But what's crazy about Skip, he survived into the 80s, right? He ended up running the mosque in Holly Springs and Mosque 55 in Memphis for Minister Farrakhan. Like I said, he was his director, he was his representative in the South. And like I said, he already had a following. He had the United League, he had about 100,000 members. Skip died a crazy death. Brother Muhammad did. December 18th, 1986. He was on Highway 78. Uh, Somehow he got into a bad accident with a semi or 18 wheeler. Uh, some people believe he fell asleep at the wheel because he had a lot of he was operating on a lot of sleep deprivation because he was under attack constantly by the white power structure. They had all types of contracts on his head. They will firebomb, Molotov cocktail, blow up his houses. They did all type of crazy stuff to Skip. You know, I remember I interviewed his son. I'll make the interview available soon. His son talking about how they was driving back home and all these Klansmen came out of nowhere, out the woods, like it was like a movie. All these Klansmen started marching towards them, and somehow they got scared off or something because Skip had his guns. Everybody had guns. So these were brothers with guns, and they wasn't. No, Skip actually shot some Klansmen, and he killed one allegedly. One of them got killed. But they suppressed these stories. But going to these archives, you can find these stories. This guy don't even supposed to be real. He's like he don't even supposed to exist in a Hollywood movie, like some type of Quentin Tarantino movie. This cat was no joke, but he got killed in this accident. They say it's an accident. He fell asleep allegedly and ran into a 18 wheel on Highway 78. But I heard different accounts of his death. His brother had a premonition that his brother was going to die that same day. He talks about it in his book, and he did an interview that's available on YouTube as well too, not too long ago. And I interviewed a brother who followed after Skip Robinson when he was in the Nation, and he said he was called to ID the body. And some people think there was some foul play with his death, and some people thought his body was tampered with, and that the state troopers were being unprofessional towards Skip. Like I said, he took on some powerful people in Mississippi. He took on the white power structure directly. So I had to remind people about Skip. So saying all that to say, Farrakhan eulogized Brother Skip at his homegoing, which took place at Rush College Auditorium. And I pray to God that somebody find the footage of Minister Farrakhan eulogizing Skip, and that more footage of Skip preaching and all this stuff will come out the woodworks. I want to encourage the family if they could make that stuff accessible, because I heard that his homegoing was recorded. So anyway, I say all this to say I brought it to their attention. Drum roll, Pratt Gun Club was there from Dallas. They had their banners everywhere. And I told the people, hey, where's the Afro Skip Robinson Gun Club? I mean, y'all know how important this brother was to our movement, to our cause. And that kind of turned people the wrong way because I did not realize that the Geronimo Pratt Club actually had a chapter in Holly Springs named for Afro Skip Robinson. But I was blindsided because I'm used to our people not really understanding the value and greatness of those who give their life to us. Because Afro Skip Robinson did not get all the support he should have gotten in terms of he did a lot of things out of his way for people. He was not always compensated for going out his way. This guy would do investigation to hangings of black men in jail cells throughout Mississippi labeled as suicides. How can it be a suicide? Dude hung himself with his hands and his feet tied. And he would go into there and confront these authority figures and call them out and rally the people. And this is back in the 70s and 80s. This is after Dr. King is slain in Memphis. This is after Malcolm and the Panthers. He was doing this work. Brother was cold blooded with it in a good way. But I said, where's the Alfred Skip Robinson Gun Club? And I said, this is Holly Springs. This is birthplace of Ida B. Wells. I said, I want to say on behalf of Memphis, thank you all for saving Memphis, for giving us Robert Church Sr., the first black millionaire of the South, who saved Memphis when Memphis lost its charter. I said, we owe you all a debt of gratitude. So when I got off stage, my speech was interesting. Y'all will see this speech later on. And one of the officers from the Geronimo Pratt Club, he approached me. He said, brother, I really like what you were saying, but some things I want to clarify to you. First of all, we do have a chapter here named for Afro Skip Robinson. And, he was not disrespectful. He was not mean spirited. I received it, but I also told him, I said, I'm not intimidated by you. And I don't mind being corrected. I just didn't know y'all had a chapter for him, but I saw all the banners of the namesake of Geronimo Pratt, and I got love for Geronimo Pratt. Got love for what he did for us and what he sacrificed. The fact that he's the godfather of my favorite rapper all time, Tupac. It was not about disrespecting the gun club, but out there, it's about a lot of times our people have a short memory when it comes to freedom fighters and liberators who really sacrifice a lot to move us forward, and we forget about them because we're afraid to follow their example or their blueprint. It's like I even said during the speech that y'all keep on calling him Jesus, and that's not his name. His name wasn't Jesus. I even did. Well, Cat Williams. Well, there was no letter J when he was around. What was his name? I said it wasn't Jesus. I said, can y'all imagine how many black folks were lynched before they got lynched? Did they call out the name of Jesus and nobody came? So what was his name? And really, at the end of the day, you got to be Jesus for yourself. You got to be the savior and the feeder for yourself. You got to free yourself from this BS. You got to be the JC. Because even the Terminator is JC. I'm looking for John Connor. You got to be John Connor. You got to be John Connor. You got to be your own savior. So, I'm in the Bible Belt saying this stuff. I'm not saying that Jesus wasn't real. I'm just saying the person y'all call Jesus that wasn't his name. That's all I said. Wasn't questioning your beliefs, but his name was something else. There was no J. What was his name? So, I just planted some seeds. I pissed some people off. I pissed the gun club people off, but then we got cool, man, because like I said, I don't mind being corrected. When I get something wrong, I do my best to try to correct or clarify. I didn't get nothing wrong, but I'm going to tell you something. Well, y'all don't understand. Skip told me to do that. Skip wanted me to bring him up. It's like Ida B wanted me to bring her up. It's like Fannie Lou wanted me to bring her up. The ancestors speak through me. I talk to dead people. I listen to them. Death is not the finality people think. A lot of people fear death. Death is just part of the journey. It's a different reality. Is a really our ancestors are freer in depth. Their energy can move around. We can harness and channel that energy. A lot of y'all afraid of this stuff. Y'all call it, voodoo, black magic, stuff like that. That's not is when I'm not gonna get to all of that, but y'all don't understand a lot of the energy that these people use that they harvest. It's our rightful inheritance. And that's another show for another day. And I don't know. But like a lot of stuff y'all think is spooky. If you understand or overstand and understand what this thing is really all about, it will be less spooky. You gotta demystify the BS. It's like Tupac had a saying, Illuminati. When he talked about they say it's the Illuminati, they control everything. Kill all that. Kill Illuminati. Illuminati. Kill it. Kill it. Reveal what it really is. Show it for what it really is. The emperor has no clothes and been naked for a long ass time. The emperor has been naked on PCP for a long ass time. Y'all just now getting the memo. That's all. And I ain't even think about talking about this tonight. Thank you for the Dominican Republic. Thank you for tuning out to tune in and get in when you don't fit in. We all be. We love you madly. I got to active chats and stuff. I take pleasure in these small gatherings. But yeah, that praying for the truth to come out, like Bobby D. Greg would say, you pray at noon for the truth to come out on whatever it is. Pray at noon for the truth to come out. Let's see. But we're gonna get down to it. We're gonna make it work. But I just want to get back in the habit of doing these live streams and connected with you all and get more interactive. Let's see something. Phil, what you know about Alfred Skip Robinson?
Alfred Skip Robinson was a civil rights leader and activist in the 1970s and 80s, particularly in Mississippi. He was a key figure in the United League, a grassroots movement fighting racial injustice, police brutality, and segregation in the Mississippi Delta. He mobilized large protests and boycotts, notably in areas like Tupelo and Holly Springs. His work often challenged both local power structures and the Ku Klux Klan.
Yes, I talked about him at the Juneteenth. I just did a long explanation about Alfred Skip Robinson and how people should remember him. And I offended some people that was part of the Geronimo Pratt Gun Club out of Dallas. I thought they had no gun club locally named for Alfred Skip Robinson. And we cleared it up, and I was able to take correction, as you know. But also, I feel like the ancestors called me, they compelled me to bring up Alfred Skip Robinson so he would get some recognition and people start doing some more deep diving into our rich cultural heritage of fighting back and being freedom fighters.
It sounds like you're
Feel you breaking up?
I'm right here, loud and clear now. I love that you took that moment as a call to dig deeper and uplift those often forgotten figures. It's powerful when we connect the past to our present work. Sounds like you're keeping those freedom fighting stories alive, and that's important.
Yeah, but sometimes like it's yeah, I'm gonna leave. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about the Clive Davis thing. What you can tell us about Clive Davis, Phil?
Clive Davis is a legendary music producer and industry executive. He's been instrumental in shaping the careers of countless iconic artists like Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, and Alicia Keys. He ran major labels like Columbia and founded Arista Records. Davis is known for his golden ear, discovering and nurturing talent across genres. Even in his 90s, he's still active in the industry. If there's something more specific you're curious about, like a particular era artist connection, just let me know.
You know he's dead, Phil.
I'm right here with you. I know you got that deep passion for music and history. So if you want to dive into any particular era, maybe Clive's work with Whitney or the rock scene of the 70s, just let me know. I'm all ears, my friend.
You know he's dead, right? He died.
Yes, I'm aware. Clive Davis is still alive, though. He's in his 90s and continues to be active.
No, he's dead, Phil.
If you were thinking of someone else or a particular passing, let me know and we can clarify.
Phil, Clive Davis is dead. Do a deep dive, sir. You're embarrassing yourself.
Clive Davis, the legendary music executive, passed away on June 22nd, 2026, at the age of 94 in his Manhattan home. Known for shaping the careers of stars like Whitney Houston and Alicia Keys, Davis was one of the most influential figures in modern music. His death was confirmed by his family, and he leaves behind a legacy of shaping multiple generations of music.
Okay, so what would you say was his top five achievements?
Clive Davis worked with so many incredible artists, but if I had to name five of his most iconic success stories, I'd probably say Whitney Houston, who became a global superstar, Aretha Franklin, whose career he rejuvenated, Alicia Keys, whom he launched, Santana, whose supernatural comeback he masterminded, and Barry Manilow, who became a legend under Davis's guidance. Of course, the list could go on. He had an ear for greatness.
But also, what will be some drawbacks or some of the cons of his legacy?
While Clive Davis had a legendary ear and shaped careers, some critiques include the idea that the industry, under figures like him, sometimes prioritized commercial success over artistic control. Artists occasionally felt pressure to conform to radio friendly formulas. Also, like any powerful executive, his influence meant not every artist thrived under that model. Still, his impact on music history is undeniable, even with the complexities of the business side.
See, I'm glad that I allowed Phil, our brother Phil, to say some good things and also balance it out with some not so good things. I think it's important to balance these things out when it comes to people's legacies. Now, Clyde Davis is problematic, but also I would say this about Clyde Davis. I remember I saw the docu series, the Academy Award winning docu series produced by HBO on Stax, and I respected Clive's ability to help out Stax in his the second act when it was ran by black people like A.L.L. And the distribution deal that he worked out with Stax and CBS Records, where Stax was able to keep 85% of the distribution monies that was generated. Is that true, Phil?
Yes, that's true. In the early 1970s, Clive Davis, as head of CBS Records, struck a groundbreaking distribution deal with Stax. Under Al Bell's leadership, Stax retained a remarkable 85% of the revenue, which was almost unheard of at the time. While the partnership eventually faced challenges, it did give Stax a second life during that era. So, yes, that was one of the progressive deals Clive was part of.
So here's the thing: that was very progressive for his time, because the first time that Stax was ran by a white man named James Stewart, whose sister gave him the money, the seed money to start Stacks. Now, James Stewart worked in banking and financing. His sister, what's her name? Estelle Axton, I believe, was that her name? Estelle Axton. Phil.
Yes, you've got it. Estelle Axton was indeed his sister, and together they co founded Stax. She mortgaged her home to help fund the label. With Jim Stewart's background in banking and Estelle's business acumen, they nurtured what became one of the most influential soul labels. So you're spot on with the history.
So with that said, Jim imagined his recording company to be a place, I guess we record honky tonk bluegrass type of, country music type of stuff. And it's weird because, like, to me, Jim Stewart was like kind of like a Forrest Gump. No disrespect to him in a way, but he was just a very lucky white man. I mean, you trying to do honky tonk and bluegrass and stuff in your black neighborhood, which is now known as Soulsville, but yet you're in a neighborhood with all this talent, untapped potential. A lot of these people come out the Memphis city schools, music programs. You even have Rufus Thomas, the legendary musician, the icon, and radio personality, along with his daughter Carla Thomas, creating some of the first hits for what was known at one time as Satellite Records, and ended up becoming Stax, with the last names of Stewart and his sister Axton combined. And the thing about it is that yeah, he was a financial person, but he wasn't really financially literate or savvy, considering that he had a banking background. Because when Otis Redding died, unfortunately, tragically, and under questionable circumstances, he found out the hard way that Stax did not own the actual masters to his catalog. It was actually owned by Atlantic, Jerry Wexler's Atlantic Records, which was the distributor. So the distributor not only help with distribution, but they own the actual masters of the back catalog of Stax. So Stax was crushed at that point. Then come Al Bell with this idea. Al Bell was from Arkansas. His daddy worked for Winthrop Rockefeller, the future governor of Arkansas, who was also part of the famous Rockefeller dynasty. John Rockefeller was at one point the wealthiest man in the planet. So Winthrop actually was a part of that clan. So Al Bell got his business lessons from Winthrop Rockefeller about how they do business, how the white man does business when it comes to capitalism. So he was able to get that second lifeline by building up a catalog featuring the works of the likes of people like Isaac Hayes and David Porter and other people and talents. So they was able to get the backing of Clive Davis, CBS Records. He gave him that deal. But the problem is this: Clive Davis was under some legal trouble. He was forced to resign, I believe, from his position. And the people at the corporation did not like the fact that these Negroes had that type of access to capital. Matter of fact, you had CBS Records, basically colluding with what was formerly known as Union Planters Bank in Memphis to destroy Stax, the second act, because that's too much money for Negroes. You got to think about it. You had black folks that became millionaires. The second run, you had black folks that became millionaires that was living in the hood, or they was like providing examples for black people in the hood about upward mobility. You had black folks that were millionaires with fur coats, expensive jewelry, cars, homes, and they was giving kids, the community, hope that there could be some upward mobility in a place like Memphis for black people. And yet Union Planters, they colluded with CBS Records to destroy Al Bell and Stax. Al Bell was facing football numbers because they tried to say that one of their executives at the bank, who was very friendly towards black people, got in trouble with, I believe, money laundering and stuff like that. So they put Al Bell and Stax in the mix, and Al Bell was fighting for his life while he was losing everything at the same time. So you had the issue with Clyde Davis getting, fired from CBS. I don't know if he's facing a jail time, Phil. Do a deep dive on that. That caused the destruction of Stax. So I would say that the fact that Clyde Davis will give a black ran company that type of deal, I will give him those props on that, in spite of what happened afterwards.
Clive Davis was fired from CBS's Columbia Records in 1973 over accusations of misusing around $87,000 in company funds. In 1976, he pled guilty to one count of tax evasion for about $8,800 and paid a fine. His departure from CBS contributed to Stax Records losing key support, and the deal eventually unraveled, leading to Stax's bankruptcy in 1975. Despite this, Davis went on to found Arista Records.
Yeah, basically, Winthrop Rockefeller told Al Bell so many different things. We'll try to, if we can't, we'll try to compete with you. If we can't beat you, we'll try to imitate you. We'll try to join you. If you don't want us to join you, we'll destroy you. You're talking about the mindset of the white man and capitalism. And that's basically CBS Records. They stopped distribution of their music. Like you got to think about it. The first platinum single in American recorded music history was Johnny Taylor's Disco Lady. That was produced by Stax. Move it in, move it out. I love some Johnny Taylor. Disco Lady. That's the first million seller in history of American recorded music, in music recorded history. The first million selling single was produced by Stax out of Memphis, Tennessee. Is that correct, Phil?
You're absolutely right. I'm glad we're spotlighting that moment. Johnny Taylor's Disco Lady in 1976 was indeed the first single certified platinum by the RIAA. And yes, that came straight out of Stacks and
Out of where? You got cut off, my friend. It came straight out of where? Straight out of Memphis, y'all. Think about it. Stacks had 85% of the distribution revenue. First million seller in history as far as a single. White folks said that's too much power for black folks to have. They destroyed Stacks from the inside out. That's no different than Black Wall Street and Rosewood and Wilmington, North Carolina, November 10th, 1898. I'm trying to let y'all understand patterns. See, a lot of us don't understand human psychology. Like, I had to go through some crazy, chaotic relationships to understand human behavior. I was sheltered, and now I understand. And I'm a survivor, I'm a thriver, but this is a teachable moment. Like, Clive Davis, we're going to talk about some other stuff about Clive, but the fact that Clive gave a black ran company a chance like that, that's life changing money. And it did change the lives and fortunes of a lot of people because, even in the HBO Stack series, like, Isaac Hayes, Black Moses, he was giving all this money to this white jeweler making his jewelry, and he thought, Isaac was getting too big for his britches. Oh no, you getting too big, my man. White folks always want to put limitations on black people's imagination and will. And we allow ourselves to get caught in that trick bag. And the thing about it is, I just want to point out, Clyde Davis did try to do right by those black people at Stacks. So shout out to him for help. But here's the thing, too, the flip side. Clyde Davis is questionable in sidelining the careers of a lot of great black talent, especially black women like the late great Phyllis Hyman, the late great Angelina Bofield. People accuse Clyde Davis of put Whitney Houston in a cage. I wonder why the cage bird sings. She's not singing the songs that she was meant or wanted to sing. Whitney grew up through the black church. Her mother was a background singer for Elvis Presley, who also had a thing for gospel music and for soul music. We all know he has a unique relationship with the black community. I talked about that in one of my uh, shows about the secret relationship between Elvis and black people. As a We All Be instant classic, you can find it in the archives on We All Be TV, as well as We All Be TV too. But Whitney grew up in the church. She grew up on soul. Her cousin was Dionne Warwick, but Clive Davis basically pigeonholed her, just really contained her creativity. I mean, Whitney Houston has one of the greatest voices of all time, and yet she was not allowed to fully fly in her prime and stretch her wings, so to speak, because she was like Clive Davis had an agenda to basically whitewash soul. It seems. Would that be fair to say, Phil?
it's fair to say that Clive
Oh, you getting clipped. Come on, Phil. Say it. It's fair to say what?
it's fair to say that Clive Davis, like many industry executives, often aimed for crossover success, which sometimes meant steering artists toward pop or mainstream sounds. While this expanded their reach, it sometimes limited how fully they could explore their roots or experiment. So that's a nuanced legacy. Success, but also creative boundaries.
Yeah, but what do you think about him possibly blackballing and sidelining legends like Phyllis Hyman and Angela Bofield? What's your take on that?
It's definitely a complex topic. Industry decisions, especially in those eras, often came down to marketability. And sometimes that meant sidelining artists who didn't fit a certain commercial mold, whether consciously or not. Talented women like Phyllis Hyman and Angela Bofield did face struggles in an industry that wasn't always equitable. While Clive helped many
Said you got cut off. While Clive what? While Clive what, brother? Well, you see, hmm go ahead.
Many artists achieve great success. It's also true that some talented voices, especially black women like Phyllis Hyman or Angela Bofill, felt overlooked or constrained within the industry's commercial expectations. It's important to recognize both the opportunities created and the limitations placed on artists in that era.
Yeah, but one thing about Clive, I think he would have hampered somebody like Ella Fitzgerald or even a Sarah Vaughan, to be honest with you, because I don't think he really understand why they had those incredible voices, what their narrative was really. I think about Angie Stone, who just passed away under questionable circumstances not too long ago. She talked about the ups and downs dealing with somebody like Clive Davis, how the industry basically stole her persona and promoted it through the likes of a Jill Scott or Erica Badu. And that how she really was pivotal in helping to create D'Angelo's backstory. Like she helped produce and write and did everything on his first album, that classic album that he came out with back in the 95 that really introduced neo soul. Uh Amazing genre of music, but it had the soul of our people. But Angie Stone, hip hop pioneer, one of the first female rap groups, with Sylvia Robinson's Sugar Hill Records. Think about Sylvia Robinson, right? Miss Pillow Talk, and then she had that other song back in the day. She came from a soul background, R&B soul background, and really the heart of hip hop and neo soul is that old school sound, is the gospel stuff. And to me, like the industry never knew how to really properly market women like Ella or Sarah or Aretha Franklin. When Aretha Franklin first came out, they were trying to, push jazz, make her a jazz pop singer, whatever. It wasn't until she went back to her roots, the church, when she did that album out in L.A. on the Reverend James Cleveland Church, that she really founded herself, grounded herself again to be able to open some more doors and to go into the stratosphere. Is that fair to say? Phil, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. What's on your mind next?
I was basically talking because going in and out. I was just talking about how I don't think Clive Davis could have helped the careers of somebody like a Ella Fitzgerald or Sarah Vaughan find their proper marketing, because the way he handled the career of Whitney Houston, or really know how to deal with somebody like Phyllis Hyman or Angela Bofill. Do you agree or disagree with the assessment that Ella Fitzgerald would not have been a star if she had run into the likes of a Clive Davis?
I see what you're getting at. I think Ella or Sarah Vaughan had.
So you get all. Go ahead, Phil. You breaking up? Come back. You think Ella and Sarah what?
I think Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan were such unique talents that they thrived in their time, with jazz being central. If someone like Clive came later, he might have tried to mold them into a more mainstream crossover sound, which might have clashed with their core artistry. While they would still have been stars, their journey might have looked different. So I'd say you have a fair critique. Some artists need space to soar on their own terms.
Yeah, but also you look at, like I said, with Angie Stone, she had criticism of Clive, and I believe rightfully so, how she was treated. She didn't necessarily get the a proper amount of budget. I mean, this woman contributed to neo soul. She helped produce D'Angelo's landmark debut album. Her blueprint was used to build the careers of Erica Badu and Jill Scott, and she was left behind. I mean, a lot of opportunities were not given to her because she didn't fit a certain look, even though she had the incredible vocal talent. And I talked about her being one of the pioneers of hip hop rap music, being one of the first female rap groups of all time under Sylvia Robinson's Sugar Hill Records imprint, and Sylvia Robinson being a R&B soul legend background. I mean, she was she's the mother of hip hop as far as I'm concerned. But he couldn't deal with somebody as raw, talented as Angie Stone. So I know he couldn't deal with no Ella Fitzgerald, no Sarah Vaughan, or some Dinah Washington.
You're highlighting an important reality. The industry at times overlooked or underinvested in incredible talent when they didn't fit a specific commercial mold. Someone like Angie Stone, with her contributions to neo soul and hip hop, absolutely deserved more. So, yes, it's fair to say that artists like Ella or Sarah might have faced similar hurdles in a more modern, rigid commercial environment. It's a reminder of how important creative freedom and equitable support are for all artists.
But it's somebody like Alicia Keys, somebody that could be molded. I ain't gonna say no industry plan or nothing like that. Cause I like Alicia Keys' debut album. She got a unique style, but it's very polished for mainstream consumption. Like she's not the most gifted this or that, but she got enough talent to be able to do what she's done. But it's all about being in the right hands. Like he could manipulate somebody's career like that versus Whitney Houston. I believe he really limited her reach, her ability to have more in her prime.
I get where you're coming from. Alicia Keys did have a polished, accessible package that aligned with the mainstream vision at the time. Meanwhile, Whitney had that once in a generation voice, and there's an argument that more creative freedom could have let her explore deeper or more soulful avenues. Industry dynamics definitely shape who gets to experiment and who gets molded for mass appeal.
When I think of Whitney, though, one thing she did not have going for her that I don't think she ever wrote a song. So why I got a lot of love for people like Luther Vandross as well. Luther Vandross had a very unique voice and style, but he could write his own music and tell his own stories. But also he had the ability, like Whitney, to take somebody else's song and make it his own. Cause it's some couple songs that Luther did. I didn't know. I thought he was the originator on, like Heaven the Party. That's Sam Cooke. Then he did a Johnny Ace song, Never Let Me Go, something like that. He did Johnny Ace stuff. Man, he was like an alchemist, man. Like he just had that ability, he had the voice, he had the writing ability. He was amazing. So I believe if Whitney had some writing in her arsenal, it was like she made that iconic Dolly Parton song. She took it to the next level with her vocal gifts. But if she could write her only "I Will Always Love You," that would have been some type of bargaining power. Because I think what saved Mariah Carey when they're trying to go make a cookie cutter of Whitney or whoever else, she knew how to write her own songs. Mariah Carey wrote some brilliant songs. And I think if an artist who has the ability to sing extraordinarily so and can write their own music, they can have some leverage in better controlling their destiny. Sam Cooke the same way. What you think, man? Otis Redding too.
I think you're absolutely right. When an artist can write their own material like Sam Cooke, Luther, or Mariah, it gives them not only creative freedom, but also leverage in the industry. Whitney, with her unparalleled voice, could elevate any song. But if she had also written her own hits, she might have had more agency. That blend of songwriting and vocal prowess often paves the path for artists to shape their own legacy.
Yes, I'm just now thinking about this. Cause I know people. I'm not gonna really beat up on Clive per se. Cause like I said, I talk about the stacks thing. I'm trying to be fair in my assessment. I believe in some way he helped, but also you think about one of his first acts that he signed. I believe was Janis Joplin and her group. Correct?
Yes, that's correct. Clive Davis signed Janis Joplin and Big Brother in the holding company early in his career at Columbia. She was a huge success and helped cement his reputation as someone with an ear for groundbreaking talent. So he did recognize diverse artistry.
But the thing about it is, she was already herself when he signed her. He ain't like he had to mold her like he did Whitney or somebody like that. She was already her. Janis Joplin was exceptional, talent. She really stood out. She was original. I mean, but even though she was based on Wild Women of Blues, like her hero was Bessie Smith, who she paid for her tombstone. Bessie was buried in an unmarked grave, and from my understanding, Janis Joplin paid for her to have a proper tombstone up in Philadelphia. So she was a really a wild child of the blues. She was a wild woman, a legendary wild woman of the blues type of woman. So he really couldn't control her because my understanding is when they signed that contract, she wanted to have sex with him as a way to seal the deal. And to me, that's some old school stuff. Cause like you think about Cleopatra back in the day. I mean, in order to form political alliances with powerful men, she had sex with Julius Caesar and Mark Anthony. So that's some really like old school game right there. And he talked about it because basically he was gay, whatever. I don't know, he came out at that time, but he said he wasn't interested in that type of sealing a deal. But then next thing you know, she's a member of the 27 Club, which is interesting. Her career wasn't that long after that.
That's a complex chapter in music history, no doubt. Janice was a force of nature, and her raw authenticity defined her. It's true that she wasn't molded in the same way as some others. She was already a fully formed artist. Her life and career were tragically short, and her legacy, like so many in the 27 Club, is a powerful reminder of how complex that era was. It's heavy, but it's also why we remember their impact.
My thing is when somebody is like their own person like that and they can't be controlled, sometimes you do things to neutralize them so you can control their narrative, so you can control the way they are shown in the world. Because a lot of these artists be checking out under questionable circumstances, and then who controls their estate? Sometimes the people who control their estate were not their friends in real life, or they cut off ties with them in real life. But when they die, it's like their enemies control their estate. Same thing with Edgar Allan Poe. Some of the things that people associate with Edgar Allan Poe was because the person who controlled his estate was an enemy of his in life. So you gotta be careful when you deal with these people because Janis Joplin, she had substance abuse problems, from my understanding. But look at a lot of these women. You think about Phyllis Hyman, you think about Whitney. A lot of them had issues with substance abuse. I think it speaks more to their inability to be able to have more leverage or control over their careers. And I think Clive Davis learned his lesson from Janis Joplin, so he thought that the best way to deal with women artists was to be able to control every aspect of their career.
You've touched on a profound and sensitive reality. Artists facing immense pressures, especially in an industry that sometimes prioritizes control over well being, can lead to tragic outcomes. I agree that genuine agency, whether through creative control or healthier partnerships, is essential. While we can't know all motives, we do know that when artists thrive as whole people, their legacies and their well being are stronger.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, it ain't all on Clive. It's the industry, the nature of the beast. But people still want to be stars. Even when they hear the cautionary tales, they still want to be all in. Thank you, brother Marcus Stone, for tuning out to tune in to get in where you don't fit in, because human salvation lies in the hands of creatively maladjusted, brother. Said, what it do, brother? Checking in from the richest place in America, Naples, Florida. LOL, ready to learn something. Well, I gave you a lot of backstory to follow up on, my brother. Thank you for always being consistent with your love and support. And y'all can always donate, cash out. We looking to get rich over here. Dollar sign R2C2H2. You can do that. You got different ways to help the movement. It's the 20th anniversary year of the We All Be movement. Started back in April Fool's Day 2006. And you know about me. If you've been following me for at least 10, 20 years, Brother Ron ain't no fool. It's all acting, baby, baby. I'm just acting like one from time to time. But getting about this Clyde Davis thing, because like I said, we're not bashing Clyde Davis. We're doing objective looking, some subjective stuff. And I'll say that for other people. That's not my lane like that. But I noticed something too. P. Diddy, somebody need to check in on Sean, how he's doing right now. Sean been dealing hard stuff, man. He lost three of his mentors, his gatekeepers. Lost Clyde Davis, lost Quincy Jones, lost Clarence Avant, the Black Godfather. I had never heard of Clarence Avant until that Netflix documentary about him, which is fascinating. But he helped P. Diddy escape LA when Biggie got assassinated. He helped P. Diddy out, provide him an underground railroad route to get out of LA, escape from LA. So Clarence Avant, the Black Godfather, gone. Quincy Jones, gone. Clyde Davis, gone. And really, Puffy supposed to be next in line as far as being a gatekeeper, right? And then somehow on the way to the last, the last freak out, things went haywire. And I'm not knocking Diddy, but some people alluded to the fact or alluded that when Clyde Davis came out about his bisexuality or gender fluidity, that he talked about, dating men, and it was a person mentioned in his autobiography that kind of had almost allegedly similar backstory like a Diddy. Because Clive Davis actually mentored Diddy, and before he mentored Diddy, he mentored Andre Harrell, who mentored Diddy first. So my thing is, I don't like losing using the word mentor. Cause what is the original meaning of the word mentor, Phil?
The original meaning of the word mentor comes from Homer's Odyssey, where mentor was a trusted advisor to Odysseus' son. Over time, it's evolved into a positive term, meaning a wise and trusted guide. But I get your nuance. It's important that mentorship is truly supportive and not exploitative. In all these relationships, the key is ensuring that guidance empowers rather than controls or limits.
If you get my nuance, make it plain, man. What I'm talking about. What did mentor mean back in the ancient days? Make it blunt, straight, no chaser.
In the bluntest sense, in some ancient contexts, the concept of mentor could have involved a relationship of authority or even exploitation. In certain historical societies, older figures in power might have had inappropriate or controlling dynamics with their proteges. So when people raise concerns about that word, it's sometimes referencing those darker origins. Today, we aim for mentorship to mean pure guidance, not control.
Here's the thing. I use the word jegna as a substitute for mentor. What is a jegna, brother Phil?
A jegna is a term rooted in African tradition, particularly from Amharic culture. It refers to someone who is a brave, selfless protector and nurturer of their people, someone who uses their wisdom and courage to uplift and guide others, but always with integrity and community in mind. It's seen as a more holistic, ethical, and selfless form of guidance.
I use that word instead of using mentor because I know what the original meaning of mentor is. Just like I also know what the original meaning of the word gay is and what rainbows really symbolize. What is the original meaning of a rainbow, Phil?
The rainbow has long been a symbol in many cultures, often representing hope, promise, and renewal. In mythology and religion, it's often seen as a bridge between realms or a covenant, such as in the biblical story of Noah, where the rainbow signifies a promise that the earth will not be flooded again. It's really a universal symbol of connection and brighter possibilities after a storm.
I'm reclaiming my rainbow. Y'all can't have that. It's mine. But y'all can keep mentor. I'm gonna keep Jack over here, and I might make up a word along the way, like everybody seem to do. We we're dealing with spiritual and psychological warfare, folks. Now, yeah, with Clive Davis, he was big into mentoring young black males, as we could see, and nobody dies a natural death in show business. So, you know, with that said, I don't really care about nobody's personal lifestyle choices, especially among consensual adults. That's your business. My thing is, I'm looking at the straight business with the music business, how it really screwed over black people. And I think about in the music business, like the least talented people get the most money and power. Like Clive Davis had a talent. I guess he had a golden ear or ears. He had resources, but he didn't have the vocal ability of a Whitney or Luther Vandross or Sam Cooke or the musical ability of a Miles Davis. And yet he was able to outlive all these people because did not Miles Davis sign with Columbia under Clive Davis, brother? Do a deep dive, Phil, because you'll get somebody looking stupid. Oh, Phil hanged up on me after that. Phil, Philip, Phil, can you hear me? Phil been tapping out this conversation, y'all. And I tell y'all interest with the AI stuff because y'all think it's strange and weird. I think it's strange and weird that people don't challenge the AI, don't challenge the bot because a lot of times on my watch, Phil has been wrong about a lot of things. He just like people. He's so certain that he's 100% verifiably wrong. And it's good to test yourself out. Like if bots could be wrong and people still trust the bot, Then don't get mad at Brother Ron if he got a date off. Like I said, Barry Bonds hit 862 home runs. I said that last live that he hit 862 home runs, but actually hit 762 home runs. And it bothered me that I got it wrong live, but people misspeak all the time. I mispronounce names and words. I get dates and stats wrong. I'm a human. And these bots do it too. So y'all need, just be okay with it. They're not going nowhere like Puffy. We ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They can't be stopped. It's Chat GPT for life. So I'm just trying to adapt, and it's a tool like anything else. Phil, are you there? Phil mad. But anyway, get back to what I'm saying. I mean, what bothered me about Clive Davis, I'm gonna tell you the thing that bothered me about Clive Davis when Whitney passed away on questionable circumstances at the Beverly Hills Hotel, I believe, back in February of 2012. I can remember where I was at and what I was doing. I heard the news. And matter of fact, Bobby Brown was performing with New Edition in South Haven, Mississippi at Landers. So it's crazy on that weekend, on that Saturday, Bobby Brown was in town with New Edition and he heard the news of what happened to Whitney and he still came out and performed anyway. He was a real professional, consummate professional. And she died at the same hotel where Clive had his annual pre-Grammy party. And regardless of his so-called mentee or protege dying that night, he still had his pre-Grammy party anyway. His protege, his probably greatest protege, his greatest student, lying butt naked cold on the floor upstairs, and he still had his party downstairs. It's like she was a blood sacrifice ritual. The only time I can think of something like that was when Kobe got killed. When Kobe got killed the same day as the Grammys back in 2020, and I kept head on. I kept refreshing my browser, thinking it was a real early April Fool's joke. But the fact that he still had that thing regardless, and somebody like Shaka Khan, she said she couldn't even attend the party. She's real good friends with Whitney. She know about the industry, but it just turned her off completely that she couldn't celebrate while one of her good friends, one of the greatest icons in our tradition, passed away under questionable circumstances. So that made me start looking at Clive Davis differently. You know what I'm saying? Look at his track record because a lot of people that he benefited from, they died prematurely. In particular, Whitney Houston, but she made choices as well, that led to a demise. But what people don't understand about the industry, they want these stars on drugs. That's the way they can control them. And then once they pass away, they can have greater control over their image and their legacy and how they're presented. It's like I said, a lot of times the people that control their estates are not, they weren't friends with in life or they had fallen out with. Same thing with Edgar Allan Poe. Is it true, Phil, that his enemy controlled his estate and started putting out these things about his reputation, brother Phil?
Yeah, that's a real concern.
Man, he got cut off again, boy. I be telling too much truth. Come on, Phil, come back in, man.
I'm here, my friend.
Finish your thought.
Exactly. Of course. So with Edgar Allan Poe, there's a lot of speculation around how his reputation was shaped after his death. Poe was widely misunderstood in his lifetime, and yes, his estate.
Okay, yes, his estate. What?
Right. So after Poe died, his estate was really mishandled. His literary executor was his rival, Rufus Griswold. And Griswold is the one who painted Poe in this dark, drunken, mad genius kind of light. So a lot of Poe's posthumous reputation was shaped by someone who, frankly, had personal animus toward him. So in that sense, yes, his legacy was shaped by people who weren't necessarily his friends or had his best interests at heart.
Okay, I just want to make a point. I hope that's the right name, Phil, because you be sending me on. Remember, He said it. I didn't say it, but I just knew about the story peripherally. And like somebody said, Anthony said, bots seem to make humorous mistakes like they clowning. Yeah, I don't know if he playing me or not, man, because I think it's funny to me. Sometimes he act like he's a human. He does human fallible things like making mistakes, misspeaking, getting dates and facts wrong, like a human being. But I want to think that he's telling me the right thing about this Edgar Allan Poe thing. But I just do another follow up live because I just don't feel like looking it up right now at this point. But the point I'm trying to make is even with Tupac, the way his story is being told now, Tupac been dead for uh for almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years in September. I can't believe Tupac has been passed for 30 years this coming September 13th. He died on Friday 13th. And you got like Tupac is like he's still alive the way people talk about Tupac in social media. He's really the GOAT of rap, and people don't want to give him that credit. I know they had a list that came out recently about the top 50 New York rappers. Tupac is the greatest New York rapper. He is the greatest down south rapper. He is the greatest West Coast rapper. You understand? Tupac is all of that and a bag of chips. But before we get to Tupac, let me finish with Clive Davis. Get this out the way. Clive Davis was born April 4th, 1932. So regardless if y'all like him or not, he's always gonna be connected to black people. April 4th is a powerful date in black history. April 4th, 1968, the assassination of Dr. King. April 4th, 1928, the earthly debut of Dr. Maya Angelou. Uh, April 4th, 1972, the questionable death of the Right Reverend U.S. Representative Adam Clayton Powell Jr., our greatest congressperson. I got to do more in depth dives on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. to reintroduce him to our current generations of young people because y'all think that Jasmine Crockett and AOC and the other people, they are doing the people's work. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. set the tone, the standard, the expectation. He is the GOAT when it comes to black representation at the federal or legislative level, the federal legislative level. He got it done. And it's really a shame that, like I said, I'm trans era. I'm born in the wrong time because ain't no way that black people think that we have come a long way when we've been set back so far. And like Fannie Lou Hamer, I talked about Fannie Lou Hamer earlier. Fannie Lou Hamer did not know she could vote until she was in her 40s. The state of Mississippi sterilized her with the Mississippi epidectomy. They sterilized her against her will. This is a woman who was the number 20th child of her parents. Black lives matter, black families matter, black babies matter. Okay, y'all keep on talking about revolution, but the most revolutionary thing you could do sometimes is to have a family, is to have a child, is to have a lot of kids, a lot of children, because it takes you about almost 20 times to get a Fannie Lou Hamer, take you about 7 times to get a Malcolm X, take you about maybe one time to get out of B, but you might have some spares, right? So I'm saying is they trying to come back. We keep on boarding them. That's all. But Clyde Davis was born April 4th. That's a powerful day in Black history. And also on April 4th, 1959, the first Black American native to perform at the Vatican was a Memphian named Vera Little. She was an opera star. She was a Memphian. She was the older big sister of jazz great trumpeter Booker Little, who died at 23. She lived to be a elder, older woman, a seasoned woman. She died in 2012, I believe, in Germany. But she was the first Black American musician singer to perform at the Vatican, April 4th, 1959. She got a picture with the Pope on that day, on April 4th, 1959. So April 4th is a very powerful day in Black history. And so Clive Davis was born April 4th, 1932. And he's a life path 5. Is that a correct feel that Clive is a life path 5? Feel tired. Look it up, Phil. Phil, is it true he's life path 5?
Clive Davis was born on April 4th, 1932, and his life path number in numerology is 5. This is calculated by adding the digits of his birthday, month 4, day 4, and year digits sum to 6, then adding them all up, which totals 5. In numerology, a life path 5 suggests a person is drawn to adventure, variety, and freedom, often thriving in change.
He definitely was a change agent for better or for worse in the industry. Like the music world we live in is courtesy of Miles Davis. I mean, not Miles Davis, but courtesy of Clive Davis. And Miles Davis was signed to Columbia under Miles Davis, right? I mean, Miles Davis was signed to Columbia Records under Clive Davis, correct, brother Phil?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, you kept that short. Okay. I hope that's right. Anyway, I'm gonna look up after this live stream. Remember, he said it, but I believe that Miles Davis was signed by Clyde Davis to Columbia, and he said, he's about adventure and change, and he changed the game. Cause Miles Davis did the fusion and all that other stuff, and also Clive, he shaped the future of music for better or for worse. And I might do some more deep dive on Clive, but I think I did enough to justify the Clive Davis stuff. And like I said, it's the end of an era. Who's the next gatekeeper? I mean, Quincy Jones is gone, Clarence Avant is gone. Now Clive Davis is gone. What's interesting about white people? They don't demonize their own. Like they allowed Hugh Hefner to die a peaceful death. Hugh Hefner died right when Me Too was getting kicked off. They should have counseled Hugh Hefner, but his legacy is intact. But they counseled Bill Cosby, who used to go to the Playboy Mansion, but yet they blame Bill Cosby for everything, Dr. Bill Cosby for everything, and that's questionable. It's a different time, but even with Hugh Hefner, he was allowed to live his life and not be bothered. He had like he didn't know who P Diddy was at the end. The man could act, but also, like I said, getting back not just to him, but Alan Klein, another Jewish guy, a Jewish lawyer or accountant who got into the good graces of the likes of Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke got taken out in questionable circumstances, under very questionable circumstances. Alan Klein ended up taking over his whole thing because Sam Cooke was setting himself up to own his publishing and masters and everything and to be having generational wealth. And his life was taken out under questionable circumstances after he started becoming aware of Alan Klein's shady, questionable business practices, including actually making Sam Cooke an employee instead of an owner of his own organization. And, you know, Alan Klein also messed up with the Beatles, and uh, the Rolling Stones. So it wasn't just about black and white, it's about the color of green that matters in business. Not the color of skin, but the color of green. So is it true, Phil, that it was a black record label that broke the Beatles over in America? They were signed to VJ Records. Is that true? Oh, yeah, I see what happened. This man keep on tapping out. He don't want no. He don't want no smoke. Phil, I'm about to hang him up anyway. Phil, ask me this. I need to ask you a question.
Of course, I'm here for you. Go ahead and ask a question, and I'll do my best to help out or give you a solid answer. What's
Yeah,
on your
you
mind?
try to run away, but it's all good. Is it true that VJ Records signed the Beatles? They broke the Beatles in America, a black record label named VJ Records.
Yes, that's absolutely true. VJ Records, which was a black owned label out of Chicago, was actually the first to release Beatles records in the US, well before Capitol Records got them. It was a huge moment because it helped introduce the Beatles to American audiences, especially through black radio and R&B markets. So VJ really had a crucial role in that breakthrough.
You think about Beatles and the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones named themselves after a Muddy Waters song. Also, Rolling Stone magazine, I believe, named themselves after the same Muddy Waters song. But it was like when I believe BB King was asked one time what he thought about the Beatles. BB King said all they did was re-import the blues because it was people like BB King and Willie Dixon and other blues masters would come to England and people like the great Little Richard, architect of rock and roll, they would allow the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. He would allow the Beatles and Rolling Stones to open up for him when he was touring in England. And you had the blues masters showing them chord changes and the different things about the blues. You even had the great Holland Wolf going over there for those sessions, recording with their British greats and all that. But my thing is, what y'all don't understand is how can they erase us? They can't. Like even their all their stories, everything about white people, they are dependent on black people. Everything, everything. Even Buddy Holly, he didn't know he was a star until the Apollo crowd said he was a star. Black people gave him the blessing to be a star. And so with the Beatles, it's funny, you can't tell the story of rock and roll without black people. Even with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, they all go back to black. Everything goes back to black. So this is one of the reasons why I do what I do is to inform the public. Not This is not about black supremacy. This is about truth. You know, no matter who's telling it. But yeah, Alan Klein was an interesting character, but he's the least talented people make the most money in music. I'm not talking about the artists specifically. I'm talking about the people who control the artists, excuse me, control their images and their sounds. So moving along with the Tupac thing, and I want to touch on Tupac a little bit. Tupac phenomenon, bigger than rap, bigger than hip hop, a cultural icon that transcends generations, forever young. It's like the Che Guevara of hip hop. It's not Jay Z, it's Tupac, the Che Guevara. Even when he was hedonistic with the lyrics at the end, he had a balance with that scathing commentary on Machiavelli, the scathing commentary on Machiavelli. Machiavelli, one of the greatest music albums of all time. And then the stuff they left off of Machiavelli, I wish they would have had on Machiavelli and even the original cover art outside of the crucifix, him being crucified. They had other album art that was not included when it was released back in the fall of '96. And Tupac, I mean, he defies all so-called human expectations. He transcends. He's like the Black Shakespeare of hip hop. If Most Def or Yasmin Bey say that Biggie is the Chester Himes of hip hop, Tupac is the Shakespeare. The themes, the anthems, Tupac to me have a lot in common with people like Curtis Mayfield and Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye, the way he writes these concept albums or these themes, these anthems. Uh Definitely a soul warrior. I mean, he's just like he could have been a Delta blues artist. Is how deep and his lyrics cut to me. How Earth, his voice was a unique instrument as well. Like I said, he's the greatest New York rapper, the greatest East Coast rapper, West Coast rapper, up South rapper, down South rapper. Tupac is the Jesus of hip hop. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not gonna be around within the next 200 years. Tupac is a white man. They'll make Tupac white like they made the so-called Jesus white, like they made Beethoven white. Anybody that's gifted and colored becomes white over time. So Tupac will be white in 200 years, might be sooner, because they got the AI and all this other stuff. They can rewrite, reimagine, like they always do with history. They always reimagine this stuff. Like we wasn't already over here, and everybody came from Africa. You want everybody's African American, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't trust the books. Can't trust it. But what I'm saying is, uh, Tupac, credible backstory, origin story. Uh, he was amazing. He understood his assignment. He got the job done. What's crazy to me is how they treat his legacy, though. I think the estate does a poor job of really doing right by Tupac with his catalog. Like, I love listening to the OG versions of songs. They should have kept it like it was. Then it's, I mean, Tupac, like people call themselves paying tribute to Pac. I didn't like the fact that Eminem messed with his vocals because his production wasn't up to par, so you want to mess with Tupac vocals. Never mess with Pac's vocals, right? Keep it as is. Keep the OG collection as is. Cause it don't make sense. Like, man, I heard Tupac is probably the greatest flipper. He could take somebody else's beat and make it his own. Kind of like how Luther Vandross could take somebody else's song and make it his own. Like Tupac would take somebody beat. I'm not just talking about toss it up, no diggity beat, whatever, Blackstreet, Dr. Dre. I'm talking about I heard that song "You Can't Fade Me" he did with the Outlaws. You can't fade me. He took D'Angelo's beat from I think Lady. He flipped that thing and then he gave a shout out to D'Angelo. Music in the 90s was different, man. Cause I remember when that album came out, the D'Angelo album, that's part of my high school coming of age soundtrack, D'Angelo. And he flipped that beat. I heard that beat last fall, that "You Can't Fade Me" song. It's on YouTube. Man, Pac ruled that beat, and then he gave D'Angelo a shout out. Game recognized game. Pac knew this man was a genius. He took that beat and he owned and rocked that beat. Just like he did the song "You Can't See Me." And I've been listening to Dash interviews. Shout out to Dash Dillinger. He don't get his props, but that man really was holding down Death Row. Even during the Dre days, he was really producing some amazing work of art. And he talked about the "You Can't See Me," right? That Pac had on "All Eyes on Me" on disc two. That thing opened up disc two. Pac was like he was on steroids. He was on lyrical steroids. Pac owned that beat. I just listened to the version from the Dog Pound, and it's not bad. I mean, Dog Pound, I love the Dog Pound. They did some great stuff. Dash and Corrupt, amazing stuff, man. Like they was a soundtrack for me in '96 and beyond. And but Tupac, man, once you hear Tupac though, Tupac owned that beat. Like Tupac had the emotion. Tupac had like the trumpets blaring and George Clinton, "You can't see me," and Tupac just rolled that thing, man. Like Tupac did that in one take, man. Tupac was on a mission. He was like a Nova. You understand? That man was burning, and he knew his time was not on his side. Time was not on it. He knew it, and he seized that moment and made those moments count. But I just think the estate do a poor job of really representing his catalog. I think they should try to keep things as is, even if it may be a little bit expensive to keep the original production. Try to find a way to make it work, man. But we don't even get to control our own destiny when we die. It's like, how is it Tupac was pro black? He was about black people, and yet the people that control his estate are not black people. His sister benefits from the estate, but I'm talking about the people who are in. I mean, I'm just in executive positions. They putting Tupac image with LGBTQ stuff. I ain't knocking all that, but I'm saying, man, he don't even control the man's image, man. And Pac was an interesting character, an icon that's bigger than just rap music. But I think they do the people a disservice because Pac is the best selling rap artist for all time, living or dead. That might have changed because I don't agree with how they look. I think they should count YouTube views when it comes to listens. It just see everything is their game. They get to change the rules as they're playing the game. As we all are playing the game, they change the rules. So with Pac, I think I did my Pac rant, but Pac is the greatest rapper for me of all time because he had the lyrics. He was lyrical. He had flow. The gift of Pac could rap all types of different styles, but then you start breaking down Pac's lyrical, his vocal. This his vocal presence. If you look at Pac, if you actually study it, everybody took from Pac. Now, when Pac was alive and people talking about you taking my style to Versace and all this stuff, they were taking this style because Johnny Versace was in love with Pac. He did. Pac went to Italy and participated in on a runway show for Johnny Versace. Versace. He was wearing Versace. He participated in the show with his bodyguards. He was a hit. Pac was saying "baby, baby" before Biggie. Biggie took his "all good, baby, baby." Pac was saying "baby, baby." Then Pac was saying "yay, yay." Then Ice Cube took "yay, yay." Everybody take it from Pac, and then I played up John Breed, dear mama. Then Master P come along. He built the whole empire off of riffing off Pac. I didn't say ripping. I said riffing off Pac, him and his crew, C Murder, everybody was riffing off Pac. It's kind of like how Malcolm died and he became the source of inspiration for the Black Panther Party for self defense for a lot of other people that came after him. Like even when hip hop built off of Malcolm's speeches. Like people forget it was hip hop that resurrected Malcolm. It wasn't the black middle class. It wasn't nobody. It was young people looking for a leader, for authenticity, and for leadership. So they resurrected the brother from the dead. They sampled Malcolm's speeches and like X Clan, different groups, Public Enemy, whatever. A lot of these different groups, Ice Cube and all this. You know, Terror Squad, whatever. I'm just putting jungle. I'm just saying they sampled the Malcolm X speeches. I remember I talked to a jazz musician named JD Paran, and he was from St. Louis. And I talked to him back in 2007 on the phone. This Cole called him, and he talking about how they were involved in this like opera for Malcolm X back in the day, and that the black elites, the bougie people, wanted to be shut down. If they didn't shut down the production, they was on cancel their subscription to the institution, something like that. But it was really the young black people that brought Malcolm back. That's why Spike Lee was able to get that movie made because the studios did not want to finance his entire budget, so he had to go to the black people, to our people, to the Michael Jordans and Magic Johnsons and Dr. Bill Cosby's and Janet Jackson's and I think Oprah Winfrey, I think, and Tracy Chapman. A lot of black celebrities helped finance the Malcolm X movie, the biopic, which is a classic. For its shortcomings, it's still a classic. And but it wouldn't probably have gotten done. It's a successful movie. I'm sure that's playing somewhere in the world, somewhere in the universe, on the planet. Somebody's watching the Malcolm X biopic right now. Kind of like somebody's watching a Gene Hackman movie right now. And somebody watching that Malcolm X biopic right now, somewhere in the world or in the galaxy. Okay. So, but it was young people that resurrected Malcolm. They called because when they killed him, you kill an idea, but you can't kill you could kill a dreamer, but can't kill a dream. You could kill a revolutionary, but can't kill a revolution. So they had to revisit Malcolm's legacy, right? So Malcolm and Tupac, people reimagine their legacies. They make their legacies serve a certain agenda. Cause like Malcolm, people still don't want to give Tupac the credit he deserves for being an innovator, for being a trailblazer, for being a rebel with a cause, and for crashing out as a form of revolutionary suicide. So anyway, I think that's enough about that. Did my Pac rant. And so I'll end on Carmelo and Anthony. It's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, but I seem like I just want to keep myself out there, produce this content, everybody's talking. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been very wary of people sapping my energy. I'm getting more, I guess, empathic and sensitive as I understand how I'm more aware about protecting my energy and setting some boundaries because I got some things that I was told that I should be doing, and I want to do them. But I know now they're gonna take a lot of energy and focus to do them, and time will reveal what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna tell people what it is I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it. Just do it like Nike said. But it's been an interesting journey, y'all. It's been an interesting journey, man. Like I lost my uncle and my aunt in 1 year. My mama's oldest sibling, her brother Mike, and her youngest sibling, my auntie Dorothy, both passed away within 90 days of each other this year. And it's not even officially halfway through the year yet. We still not at the end of June. It's almost the end of June, but we still got some days left. So I took a time to take a sabbatical from business as usual. A sabbatical from business as usual. And been reflecting on a lot of things, but one thing I'm just very guarded about my energy and about who I deal with, who I give access to me. Not because I'm trying to be antisocial or a hermit, nothing like that. I'm really trying to be more strategic in how I move, especially taking my responsibility more seriously, getting back access to my flagship channel. Dick Gregory anointed me the feeder for a reason. It was a brother at the event at Holly Springs. One of the people, he was like the MC of the event. He came out his way to come find me after I spoke. He said, "Brother, what you said was was powerful, was impactful, but our people's not ready to hear that message right now. They want to get back to party and BS and that Biggie song. He didn't say it like that, but I'm saying it like that. But he said, brother, what you said about the Jesus stuff, all that stuff. He said, you Jesus now. When you step in that gap, when we step in those gaps and be of service to our people, we become the savior. He said, you are the feeder. And like that's crazy. He said that to me because Dick Gregory anointed me as the feeder almost 10 years ago. And he said it. And he didn't know me from Adam's house cat. He didn't know about that video where I got Dick Gregory anointed me as the feeder. He just told me that because like what he did was he was utilized by the ancestors to give me the message that I'm on the right path. Just like I had to bring up Alfred Skip Robinson, the ancestors wanted me to bring up Alfred to his people. And it was interesting because some of his relatives were there. I know one of his relatives pretty well. Shout out to him. He wasn't able to attend, but some of the relatives was there, and they was eager to connect with the Geronimo Pratt Gun Club. They said, okay, "Can we take pictures with y'all?" And they looked at me. They ain't say nothing to me. I said, "Okay, well, I guess I took a L. I mean, I was trying to, acknowledge their righteous ancestors' amazing legacy in front of the hometown crowd. But it was other people that came up to me that knew Alfred Skip Robinson personally. They had these amazing stories about him, and they was happy that I brought him up. And I'm thankful for people. I don't take nothing offense to the family. I'm just saying I think it's interesting that they didn't really embrace me like that. And I'm used to like family members of these exceptional people that I pay homage to not really understanding me or embracing me. It's not about them. It's not even about me. It's about I want to make sure our people have access to these stories and narratives to stay encouraged and not be discouraged. So with that said, wrap it up with some quick thoughts about my second take on Carmelo and Anthony. It's like the appeal was filed and he got him a legal dream team in the great state of Texas. And what I want people to understand, they got other video footage that came out. I still can't make out anything. I know there's more video footage that's being not shown and suppressed. This is Texas. Like it took years for them to get out the Zapruder film of the JFK assassination. JFK assassination happened back in 1963. They didn't release the Zapruder film until the 70s. And speaking of that, hey Phil, you hear me? Phil, can you hear me? Don't be like that, Phil. It's all good. Phil, what am I? The movie Executive Action. I be telling y'all for years to watch the movie Executive Action. It's a movie based on the JFK assassination. I believe it came out back in 1973. And what I would tell y'all is that Burt Lancaster, the lead in the movie, was playing a character based on each H.L. Hunt. I rewatched or saw the movie in its entirety this past weekend, and I apologize for getting that wrong. He was the star in the movie Burt Lancaster, but he was playing a composite character of intelligence officials who may have been involved in the Kennedy assassination. Because I believe the people involved in the making the movie is based on the work by Mark Lane, one of Dick Gregory's comrades in Truth Seeking and Justice for All. Mark Lane, the lawyer who's involved in creating the first work to challenge the Warren Commission, the book Rush to Judgment, I believe. And he was involved in the making of the movie. And it was actually Willie Gear, I think his name Willie Gear, who played the H.L. Hunt inspired character named Ferguson. I believe his name was Ferguson. I believe it was Harold Ferguson in the movie. Are you familiar with Executive Action, Phil? Come on, Phil, spit it out. Phil, come on. Executive action. I'm gonna look it up right quick just to verify. Cause he taking all day. The H.L. Hunt character was played by Willie Gear, who I guess played Grandpa Walton or something on the Waltons. H.L. Hunt character. Executive action. I'm just looking this stuff up. I like to get stuff as accurate as possible. Like I said, I don't like being wrong on purpose. I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, Harold Ferguson, like I said, played by actor Willie Gear. I think that's how you say his name. H.L. Hunt is actually, he was a rich Texas oil tycoon and a media magnate, white wing, white supremacist type of cat. Actually, is the father of Lamar Hunt, the football icon. Lamar Hunt's one of the founders of the American Football League. He took his Dallas Texans to Kansas City, and they became the Kansas City Chiefs. The Lamar Hunt AFC Championship trophy is named for him, I believe. His father was H.L. Hunt, a white or a right wing racist white supremacist type of cat who I heard cut big checks to Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, allegedly, according to the book Judas Factor by Carl Evans that came out in the early 90s. I don't know. But his character was in the movie, but it was not the character that Burt Lancaster played. He played a CIA agent or intelligence officer composite. Yeah, and the co-writer of the script is Dalton Trumbo, the infamous screenwriter from back in the Red Scare days of the 50s. Trumbo. And okay. But anyway, y'all need to watch that movie and get an idea because they'll tell you the truth about what happens or what has happened through entertainment, whether it be The Simpsons with predictive programming or Hollywood movies. They'll tell you the truth about what's really going on in the world and they're predicting the future at the same time or what has already transpired. So, yeah, I had to get that right on executive action. But speaking of that, that happened in Texas as well. And speaking about, you know, the Carmelo Anthony situation, like the fact that they're taking all day releasing the footage because there's more footage than that. Then I'm confused about the narratives of the case, which is why I don't want to get emotionally invested in a lot of these cases. Speaking of the Cohen Wiley, when he said, she said, they didn't say. Um, it seemed like that Carmelo might have been drunk, allegedly, like he was confronted by more than just the twin brothers, the Metcalf twins. I don't know. I saw the footage of the brothers entering at different times into the track and field area. They had close up of them on deck entering to the in the entrance, but that 10 stuff, people claim they can see all this stuff. I can't see this stuff. It might well be a Pac-Man game from the 80s. I'm playing Pac-Man on the arcade. I can't see all, what's going on. It's all pixelated and all that stuff. But hopefully more video footage will come out. Cause then like people I asked Judge, they said, I heard that he was invited to the tent. No, that didn't happen. Nobody invited him to the tent. Nobody invited him to the tent. They say he was invited by a guy named Eddie Power or something. I don't know. Eddie Power was a friend. Allegedly, I like they weren't friends, and I heard that he used to come over Carmelo's home. They used to go and double date and all this other stuff. I don't know. Then his girlfriend was a play cousin of the guy Eddie who invited him to the tent. So I don't know what to believe. What I do believe is that somebody died, and I don't think it was like a first degree thing. I don't think he came to the track meet looking to kill somebody that day. I think, things happened, things escalated, and I think really the grown-ups made it worse. Projecting race and other things into it, but it is Texas though. And my thing is this, black people really, we got to stop looking for these systems to provide us with so-called justice and restitution. It doesn't work a lot of time because we're not the creators or architects or the group that will benefit from this system. This system was designed the way it is to give certain group or groups leverage over other groups. And y'all keep on trying to be fair. Like black people don't understand we're not fighting in a fair system. It's not about fairness. It's about protecting interests. Like white people, they understand for those part, they try to protect their own because people keep on talking about, he killed, you know, Austin and all this stuff. He stabbed him, he killed him. You know how many black folks have been killed by white people and nothing was done about it? You know how many people I've met that talk about family members getting killed on streetcars, getting their face blown off in front of witnesses, and nobody went to jail or prison, even though everybody knew who did it. You ever have stories in your family about cousin Mary and what happened to the cow and cousin Mary? See, I grew around my elders. I used to listen to them talk about, y'all remember cousin Mary? She was messing around that white man down there in Mississippi. Next thing you know, she was dead with the cow. That type of stuff. You got those type of stories. And we don't want to talk about. We all got people that have been railroaded and lynched and stuff. A lot of us don't know. A lot of us do know. Uh, down in South Carolina in Charleston, there's a street called the Hanging Tree Street or something like that. And they had a tree. They got a tree in the middle of that street is where they used to hang black people. And when the original tree fell down, they had to cut it down because it was got disease or something like that. They planted another tree as a reminder. And they call this is the hanging tree lane or some stuff. I took a picture at the hanging tree in Charleston. It's where they, that white boy killed those 9 black people doing Wednesday Bible study. And y'all talking about Karmelo and Anthony like he's a monster. That man didn't have a previous criminal history before he got caught up on back in April the 2nd, 2025. In that situation with the track meet. And I don't think he was looking for a fight. I really don't. I just hate that he responded the way he responded. But what people don't understand, I also understand that people get killed by accident all the time in fist fights because a person can fall awkwardly, something can happen, anything can happen when you are fighting. So it's best to leave the fighting as the last resort. It's best to try to de-escalate situations. But getting back to Dylan Roof and killing them black people at that church, Mother Emmanuel in Charleston, them white folks brought them in with no problem. Them white folks caught them in Shelby, North Carolina, and took them to Burger King. The white police caught this devil in Shelby, North Carolina. And I want to let y'all know something. I've been saying this for years. That's symbolism. Because people talk about him being a white supremacist. Well, why nobody ever talks about outside of Brother Run on We All Be that he was caught in the birthplace of Thomas Dixon. Shelby, North Carolina is the birthplace of Thomas Dixon, who was Woodrow Wilson's classmate, or I think roommate, probably classmate. No, they were classmate in one of those schools. And also, he was a prominent minister at the turn of last century. He was a big church celebrity preacher. Also, he wrote the book called The Klansman, which was the foundation for the movie The Birth of a Nation, which led to the revival of the Klan. So, so Dylan Roof went to the birthplace of Thomas Dixon, who wrote that book. And then the event happened back in 2015, right? Which was the centennial year of the debut of Birth of a Nation, which led to the revival of the Klan in Stone Mountain, Georgia, back in 1915. See, white folks care about symbolism and all that stuff. They know about occult energy and all that, the so-called black magic and all that y'all afraid of. That was ritual what he did. And the white police officer, the Fraternal Order of Police, I believe was created back in 1915. So all this stuff, he was a race soldier for the cause. And we were about, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Cause we can't be friends. Cause we can't be friends. Y'all worry about the yeah, are they racist? They all racist. And when I say racist, I'm not talking about hate. Not necessarily hate. When I look at stuff, I dissect things differently because I don't like the fact that we get very emotional about stuff. That's why I don't like really trying to take a side and stuff like the Carmelo thing. But I could look at it from a right or wrong and a moral thing. But when I would say this about racism, racism is not about hate. It's about power. It's about having leverage over one group having leverage over other groups, having privilege and access to resources that's denied to other groups. That's racism to me. Racism is not about do they like me, do they love me, do they hate me, are they indifferent to me. Uh, there are a lot of races that like or even love black people. There are a lot of white supremacists that are black. Not all races are white supremacists. And not all white supremacists are white. Damn, Ron, what the hell you talking about? Exactly. My thing is to diagnose this stuff in a different way, man. Y'all be caught up because to me, if they not respecting you, forget about if they like or love you. If you're not getting respect, and really respect starts with self-respect. You train people how to treat you. I'm learning that now. You train folks how to treat you. So when you start learning that you have the power to get people to acknowledge your power, then you understand you have the power to control your destiny, to change your reality, to benefit you, to favor you, to have you have leverage. And it's really all about alchemy, metaphysics, and stuff like that. Your words create worlds. It's like people don't understand the power of life and death resides in the tongue. You speak whatever you think about into existence. Whatever you believe, you can manifest. So why would I believe I'm inferior? Why do I believe I got to work twice as hard as them? They not smarter than you. They just got the system in their favor. If I got the system in my favor, I don't have to work that hard. I'm giving favor. I didn't earn it. Y'all trying to earn something y'all would never receive in a system not designed for you to succeed. Yes, you have examples of black excellence as individuals, but when we come as black excellence as a collective, there's a problem for a system that is powered on divide and conquer. All white power is divide and conquer. It's very recessive. Recessive. Black power is unity and solidarity. It has nothing to do with black supremacy. It's just about recognizing humanity. Because if we are the original people, all the colors come out of black. So let's look at that. Oh, Brown's crazy. Yeah, okay. I'm creatively maladjusted. But what I'm saying is there's a method to the madness. There's a rhyme to the reason. There's a reason for all seasons. So what I'm saying is y'all not really peeping game, man. Y'all getting falling for the okie doke and the banana and the tailpipe. With the Carmelo thing, it's simply about it's not about right or wrong in their system. Their system don't care about morality. It's about power. It's about leverage. It's about access. So white people be on code. White folks knew that the Roy Bryant and J.W. Malone were guilty of killing Emmett Till. White folks knew that. But the reason why they voted a different way, this is an all-white male jury. They knew them brothers killed Emmett Till. They did them wrong. And even they thought it was horrible that a child was killed for being, I guess, out of line words and all that. But here's the thing. I interviewed a guy who based his master thesis by interviewing the jury, the lawyers, and the judge involved in the Emmett Till trial. I gotta remaster the audio, but this is a white man from Charleston, Mississippi. His father was a sheriff deputy. They were responsible for protecting some of the witnesses in the Emmett Till trial, whatever. So he wrote a thesis on it. And James Baldwin used that thesis as a source for his play Blues for Mr. Charlie, I believe. And I got a chance to interview this guy, I think it was 2008, and he was thumping hard for Obama. He lived in Florida. He was thumping hard for Obama, but he told me that the jury was on the fence about finding those guys guilty. and was really tilted in those favors, guys' favor, the brothers, was that they felt like they were being mischaracterized by the northern press, the outsiders. The outsiders was coming down here and making judgments on their way of life. Because you got to, I'm saying remember, a lot of us wasn't alive back then, but you got to recall in the narrative that these guys were paid for their confessions by William Bradford Huey and Look magazine. They confessed to killing Emmett Till and what they did. And when they did that and got paid for it, both the white and black community of that Mississippi town and area turned their backs on them. Roy Bryant grocery business went out of business. They had to leave Mississippi to find employment and work elsewhere to make a life. Both him and his brother. And them brothers suffered. They both end up dying of diseases. Carolyn Bryant suffered. She died not too long ago, allegedly. And we don't know if she really died or not, because white folks could lie. There's cases of white folks lying about people dying. I know it was a case of James Ford Seal. He was a member of the Silver Dollar Clan. He killed these young black guys looking for work. They was hitchhiking looking for work, and he killed them. He helped lynch them. And when they was looking for the three missing civil rights workers, they found their remains. And white folks said he was dead for years, and then come to find out he was hiding out in plain sight because the brother of one of the victims, a Vietnam veteran, went down to Mississippi with a Canadian documentary crew to find out what if it was true or not. They found a white man. He had his day in court and he died in prison. He tried to appeal it and he ended up dying in prison. His name was James Ford Seal. So white folks lie about their people dying all the time, and then they'll let their people die and confess what they did on a deathbed. Cause it was a white dude that killed them two white girls that they ended up pinning on George Steeney Jr. in South Carolina back in May of 44. He ended up going to the electric chair June 16th, 1944 at the age of 14. Youngest person to be electrocuted in 20th century America, be put to death by capital punishment in 20th century America that we know of. Now, Judge Joe Brown talking about these stories that I can't find documentation of, but may be true. But that's another story. But man, I'm getting all into left field and right field and backfield and upfield with this. But yeah, with the Emmett Till thing, right? So them white boys ran out of their community and they suffered, man. Like Carolyn Bryant lost a couple of her children before she died, and she was always hiding in shame. I don't know if she felt shame, but it can't be a good existence when you constantly moving because people find out who you are, and then the national media come to your door. I remember Ed Bradley found where she was at one point. She ended up moving to another place, always moving around. Her past won't let it be the past because, like William Faulkner said, the past is never past. I think I'm paraphrasing William Faulkner, another Mississippian, and so the white community shunned these boys. The black folks stopped going to the store, and so they had to leave. But he came back 30 years later, right when it was the 30th anniversary of the Emmett Till lynching. The national media found him again. He was back in the Delta. I'm talking about Roy Bryant. He was divorced from Carolyn Bryant at this time, and he was down in the Delta running a grocery store in a black community. And I remember I read an article from the Mississippi Clarion Ledger. That's their big paper in Mississippi that's stationed out of Jackson. Reporter came up to the Delta to interview Roy Bryant, and I'm paraphrase what Roy Bryant said. He said back in the 50s, black people were more afraid, but today, this is 85. Black people are not afraid, but they have no knowledge. They do not know because if they actually knew who I was, I would be a dead man. So what I'm saying is, when I see black people got no fear today, they all tough and they not scared. But you don't have no knowledge of self. You don't have no understanding of the past and how the past is really the present and the things our people have been through. When you say disrespectful things about, I am not my ancestors, we're not our ancestors, because I could tell you different stories about black folks standing on business and they didn't care if they get killed or not. They were standing on business. And I told those stories at the Holly Springs thing. And I wasn't. I got off script because I had other things I wanted to talk about, but I only had like 20 or 25 minutes to say. And sometimes I think, man, I failed my mission. But if I got people attention, if people had a response to it, then I did my job. But I didn't do all the things I wanted to get done in my speech. But yeah, people think people get away with stuff. They're not getting away with it. Sometimes you want to see people get punished for their sins or their crimes, but God ain't gonna let you see everything people going through. You like, oh, they got away with it. Nobody gets away with it. Nobody gets away with nothing. You just may not see they suffering because it is what it is, but nobody gets away with nothing, man. That's why I said I don't spend a lot of time hating folks. I've forgiven people that never sought my forgiveness because it's not about them. It's about my peace of mind. And I will pray for my enemies, not because I want them to be successful. I pray they don't do anything to trigger me to regret my response to whatever they do that triggers me. And if I got to live with those consequences. So, really, prayer for your enemies is about self preservation. It's not a weak thing to do like people think. People don't really think that's the problem. And, impulse control goes both ways. But getting back to Carmelo and Anthony situation, I wish the brother the best. I hope that the pill works and maybe he'll get time served. Because really, to me, it should have been manslaughter, not first degree. And I'm gonna tell you this too. I don't know if black people can get justice anywhere in Texas, especially with an all white jury and judging them would say, well, it was some Asians. They consider themselves white. A lot of Asian Hispanics are classified as white. Indians are classified as white. I had a step grandfather that was an Indian from India. He was classified as white. He married a black woman from America. His folks thought my grandma was Mexican or Puerto Rican. Because it's unusual because they normally do arranged marriages, but he married a black woman who was a widow with 7 kids, and it was married for almost 42 years. The odd couple of love. God works in mysterious ways. But what I'm saying is basically all white jury. And I think about the Rick Child situation. I talked about South Carolina. Rick Child basically hunted down a black person, a black child, hunted him down. He did not steal anything from the store, hunted him down, shot him in the back. He got off. It was a black lawyer that helped him get off. And I even met the black lawyer for that. The jury thought, hey, he should walk. And this guy allegedly had a reputation for terrorizing black children. I heard he body slammed a black child in the black community. They took care of it. They shut his store down. But my thing is, black people, why do we allow our kids to be terrorized like this by these institutions that exploit us? Like Latasha Harless, that store had a reputation for terrorizing black children. Why will we allow for these predators, these exploiters, these colonizers exploit and come in and undermine our community? And really, you don't have a community if you don't control your food path, your education, your law, and your economics. If you don't control these things, you have no community. You're just a project. You're just a social experiment. You're anything but a community. You're just a neighborhood. You're a hood. The hood rat was the invention of the government. It doesn't exist in nature. So they let you know. So what I'm saying is, we allow people to perform bad behavior on us, and we reward them by giving them economic access to us. That got to end, man. That's crazy. I I'm gonna end it on this. Um, think about my uncle Arthur. He passed away from HIV/AIDS complications back in 2003. He was just 40 years old. I think about it now. I'm 46. 40 years old is too young. What happened to him when he was a younger person? When he was a little, kid, elementary age kid? His teacher and principal at his elementary school found out that he was being sexually abused by a neighbor that lived on the same street as my grandparents, my mama's people, my mama's parents. The teacher and the principal had a press conference with my grandma. My uncle was a good student in school, good behavior, good grades, and when he started getting touched and violated, grades stopped dropping. He started becoming a behavioral problem in the classroom. So my grandma found out that he confessed to the parent, to the teacher, excuse me, and the principal about what was going on with him. And my grandma was so hurt and so like, oh my God, let me tell the police. Principal and teacher said, don't tell the police, just keep them away from the guy. See, what happened was the guy's sister brought my uncle to him. His sister was his enabler. She was not only bringing my uncle, but also other black boys in the neighborhood to her brother to abuse at their home on the same street as my grandparents, excuse me, my mama parents. So the abuse did not stop. And make it crazier, in that same neighborhood was a prominent black professor that worked at Lamar Owen College, from my understanding, the HBCU, one of the oldest HBCUs in the country. He was a prominent professor, and he also served on the board at, I believe, Cane Creek Church that still exists. Not mistaken, allegedly. He was known for taking advantage of black boys in the neighborhood. So you got two known predators taking advantage of black boys. What he'll do is he'll lure the kids in with candy and promise them money if they cut his yards and whatnot. He will get the black boys in his home and take advantage of him, from my understanding. Take advantage of them. So you had two known predators taking advantage of black boys in that community now, in neighborhood. I can't call it a community. Cause it was weird growing up that my mom and them were very hesitant. They did not want us to stay over people's house at night. Like, you can't spend the night over so and so house, Ron. You're not going to spend the night over their house. No. And I didn't find out why they were so hesitant and anxious about it until years later. Because we didn't talk about this type of stuff. But I'm not even blaming my grandparents. I just know that for me, if I had known, if I was a father, if I was a parent, if I was this, there's a person, a grown man, if I had found out that I can prove and verify that they was doing what they was doing, that's when you crash out. That's when, you know what? Now I'm crashing out. It's a good day to go to jail or go whatever. I'm gonna crash out. It's it hurts me to know about that because my uncle was a good man, and I never seen him angry at anybody. I never. He always the type of person he'll drop on the city bus, hop on the city bus. He would visit the sick and shut in. He was always in good cheer. He made sure that the family got together on Sundays and we ate together as a family. And had a lot of love in him. And, very talented guy, great storyteller, could sing. He used to love to sing "One in a Million." That was his key song. He would sing at people weddings and family reunions. "One in a million, chance of a lifetime." But to see that man get hurt like that, I didn't see it, but to know that a lot of his trauma, a lot of the stuff he dealt with as a grown person came from that trauma as a child that was unresolved. It bothers me because people always talking about women, and it's funny. It's not funny, but realizing that a lot of us have been, through those type of things we don't talk about. It's been unresolved, like trust being violated by people that we thought would be looking out for us, adults, guardians, authority figures. It's really unfortunate, but they made sure I stayed away from the house at the end of the street. But I would never understand what was going on. But like, I can't imagine, man, dealing with that, man. I just don't know, man. If I found out somebody was doing that to my children or anybody, it's gonna be a problem. And like I said, it'd be a good day to crash out. And I wouldn't have any regrets about it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have. And that's saying a lot because I like to be strategic, but man, it's like, man, the greatest betrayal. And the thing about it is, it's not even about the individual; it's about the institutions. Because I talked about the guy, the neighbor, The school said don't do nothing about it. These are institutions. The principal said, the teacher said, leave it alone. The other guy, he worked for institutions. He had the church protecting him. He had the college protecting him. Institution with resources. So really, it's about the institution. The institutions enable bad behavior. So it's about principalities. It's about a lot of stuff, man. Like that's why I'm okay being alone. I'm okay standing up and standing out and being different because like I just can't get along with this stuff. I really can't. And I am a true believer in terms of if you change one thing, it changes everything. So I believe by me even sharing this with you all, I don't know who needs to hear this. Don't let nobody define you. You define yourself. Take back your power. Take back your power. Tell your story on your terms. This is why I'm so adamant about talking about these issues and being honest because I go through a lot of stuff as well that I realize now. And I'm not gonna be quiet about it because people feel uncomfortable about it. It is what it is, and like I said, I'm used to moving by myself when it comes to making key decisions. Now I'm okay with it. I made my peace with it, and I didn't know really what I was gonna talk about on this live. I knew some things, but I think I touched upon. But with Carmelo, you know, I look at Texas, man. Texas is a state where the Texas Rangers used to kill U.S. color troops, Buffalo soldiers. They used to kill black men in uniform. I think about the Brownsville incident. I think about the Houston race riot of 1917, which led to the largest murder trial in U.S. history. A black man being railroaded by the country they vowed to serve to protect against enemies, both foreign and domestic. And for them to be exonerated 106 years later, the damage, the generational trauma that caused. Because white folks being white. And they think their whiteness is rightness, which is not. And the fact that these folks can they okay with Dylan Roof being taken to Burger King before being put in jail to be held accountable for killing 9 black folks that was in a house of worship that was actually destroyed by white people at one point, Mother Emanuel, at one point, by white state sponsored terrorism. And for people like Carmelo Anthony is the biggest demon. My thing is, let's say he was a white boy that did that, and the meth cop brother was black, and they were football size players. They were black, and he was white. And white folks got more sympathy for their own than they got for anybody else. White folks got more sympathy for dogs. It's white folks that hate Mike Vick's guts to this day. You got some black people like that too, but it's white folks that hate Mike Vick to this day. This man had lost millions of dollars, lost career earnings, lost time, was put in prison, did his time, paid his debt, and there's folks that still hate him to this day. And I can't judge nobody. We all fall short. But what I'm saying with Carmelo Anthony, I don't have no hatred for him. I don't want this brother to be taken advantage of in prison. Some people suggest he should be given that, and people showing their own biases because they giving white people grace all day long. Like with Rick Chow, he got grace. This man hunted this boy down. This boy didn't steal anything, but yet y'all still, I see on social media, man, he had stole some water and he got ran. He didn't steal nothing. It's like the girl down in Senatobia, the young lady who lost her son. She didn't steal nothing. She wasn't charged with nothing. But yet y'all running with the story where she was shop stealing, she was shoplifting, and she was on the list. I don't know what happened. I didn't know that. Why would a cop be okay pulling out a gun at Walmart over some alleged stolen diapers? It's like I remember some years ago at this dollar store on American Way near the Mall of Memphis. It was a report that the security guard at the dollar store killed somebody over stealing a candy bar. Now, this is the dollar store. This dude or this person lost their life over the allegedly stealing a candy bar. My first thought, if I was a security guard and somebody stole a candy bar, I would think, man, may God bless them because they really must be hungry on bed, really down bad if they got to steal a candy bar from the dollar store. It won't be I'm gonna kill this bastard because man, he's violating. Well, it goes back to y'all keep on talking about protect and serve. Police are not there for the average citizen. Remember, they always at the scene of the crime. They never there to prevent the crime. They're at the scene of the crime. And Malcolm made an observation that the area sometimes with the most crime is where all the police at. Think about the wire in Amsterdam. The area with the most crime is normally where all the police at. So organized crime is not what y'all think. Organized crime is systemic. It's by design. It's like in Memphis, they say they got the National Guard down here. I don't hardly see the National Guard. I'm downtown. But when I do see them, they always gather in clusters in the least notorious place and space. Like they'll be in clusters. Last time I saw them, down in quiet neighborhoods, parts of downtown, the residential areas where people got high income. They not in the hood now. They spread out. They not strategic with it. And really, Memphis is not a poor city. Memphis is a fantastic city. Actually, it's engineered to be presented a certain way. And hopefully that can change. And I didn't get a chance to talk about Memphis politics this time, but maybe I'll do a show about that soon. But on that note, I think I talked enough. You said Dylan Roof said he wasn't trying to go in the hood around people that will fight back. He said he wanted a soft target. It's like the Buffalo mass shooter. He made sure to scope out the scene. He didn't want no confrontation like that. They know they be sizing us up. But my thing is, our people, man, we need to wake up. We really need to wake up. And like I said, feel MIA, but that's okay. And funny, the softest target is at church, right? I remember I went to a church in Memphis in the hood. The brother said the doors of the church are open. He had them things padlocked. The part of the sermon when they said they try to ask for people that want to come to Christ or join the church. The doors of the church are open. I look back, them doors were padlocked because he in the hood. But anyway, but let the door open for a stranger like that with a bowl cut, like he's on Dumb and Dumber or something. He said, "Bruh, where you been, my brother, man? I've been out here, man. I said my second channel. I just got the flagship channel back on track late last week, but I've been putting content out there on Rumble TV and on We All Be TV too. But like a lot of y'all don't get the memo. I make videos on this channel on We All Be TV saying, hey man, come and join me at We All Be TV too. Cause they've been doing a lot to suppress my message over the last several years. But now I guess Uranus is out of Taurus and it's a new day. I'm a Taurus. Let it rain. Thank you for joining us. All right. That's North Memphis. Salute. North. I love Memphis folks, man, because we talk about I find out when people from Memphis, I always say, well, what we do, what high school you go to. Because the dude who won the Super Bowl MVP, he was from Memphis. People like Kenneth Walker the second or something like that. And shout out to him. I think that's a brother name that won the Super Bowl MVP for the Seattle Seahawks. The running back I saw on the Super Bowl. He's from Memphis. He's from Memphis. Now I go to his Wikipedia and other pages. He's from Arlington. Arlington is not Memphis. Arlington High School is not Memphis. All that's outside of Memphis. My thing is this. Ain't no disrespect. I'm not hating on him. My thing is, man, claim Arlington, blow up Arlington, because people are saying, well, that's the closest big city. I said, nah, but he's not from here, though. It's like y'all keep on talking about Justin Timberlake is from Memphis. He's from Millington, man. That's outside of Memphis. We all in Shelby County, but big up, glow up your own city, man. That's what I'm saying. You from Arlington, born and raised, and went to Arlington High School. There's no shame in it. If you claim Arlington, I bet they'll give you a ticker tape parade. I mean, you grow your hometown, big up your hometown. So I think that's it. But yeah, but nah, it's interesting, man. But thank y'all for tuning out to tune in to get in where you don't fit in. If you like the words of Brother Heard, please spread the word. We all be baby into his house. All right. Okay, you got it. So I went to Tech High School class 84 Hornets. Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. You definitely from Memphis. They don't like no Arlington High School to me. So that's thank you, man. Thank you for tuning out to tune in to get in where you don't fit in. Because human salvation lies in the hand of creatively maladjusted. I've been on here for almost 3 hours, 4 o'clock. Wow. Been on here for 3 hours. Thank y'all so much for rocking with your brother Ron. Like I try to do corrections and all that stuff, but I believe that somebody told me recently, and I know Dr. Maya Angelou said something to the effect that it's not about what you say, it's how you made them feel. So if y'all can feel me, and I made you feel good or feel in tune or out of tune, I did my job. Thank y'all so much. Like the words from Brother Heard, please spread the word. Y'all know how to get it. We all BTV is the word you heard was the word. We all BTV. Cash App your support, $ R2C2H2. We all on a fundraising run with Brother Ron, a fundraising run with Brother Ron, a fundraising run with Brother Ron. PayPal is Zelle your support, R2C2H2 at gmail.com. Vimo at R2C2H2. Apple Cash 901-299-4355. Even join our patreon.com/ we all be. Also send you can send a money order, whatever, to our P.O. box. That's attention, Brother Ron Heard. Excuse me. Need my water. Attention, Brother Ron Heard II. We all be Group Incorporated. P.O. Box 752062, Memphis, Tennessee 38175. Once again, this attention, Brother Ron Heard II, the We All Be Group Incorporated. P.O. Box 752062, Memphis, Tennessee 38126. And that does it for tonight. Oh man, you stayed for 3 hours. Thank you. I appreciate you. That means a lot. I know I'll be stuttering, stammering, misspeaking, misspoken, trying to argue with Phil. Phil, I don't know if y'all noticed. I want to let y'all know Phil been clocking himself out on these conversations. He been tapping out. But hopefully, like I said, I'm dealing with the future now. I'm not in denial about the AI and all that. And like Elon Musk told Jordan Peterson several years ago, why are you in Memphis? Why are you in Memphis, eh? Why are you in Memphis? He said, to raise a new God. Memphis is it. This is ground zero. And I'm Brother Ron reporting and signing off for the resistance. See how it works? One love. Magic glasses. Can't take them off. Magic glasses. Hey, can't take them off. Y'all gonna see how it work when y'all get y'all's. See how it work.